Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel takes on a lead sled challenge.
A while back, I had this crazy idea. I wanted to take this old Packard and convert it into a lead sled for my friend Tom.
Oh, man.
It came out pretty cool, and then Victor saw it.
I said, hey, Ian, you think Tom will ever sell the car? And he said, you kidding?
But with a little wheeling and dealing, Victor made it happen.
Surprise, I got the Packard. I don't want to change that much, but I want to change everything.
Victor comes in and just wipes the slate clean.
You've chopped the car.
Right.
To me, that's baby stuff.
As the guys get into it, things don't go as planned.
Sometimes building a custom car isn't pretty, not in the beginning stages.
Ian, my car, what the heck you do to my car?
We're on to a new adventure. You know where it's going. Full custom, baby. Victor wanted me to come over, some kind of consultation. I'm walking down the driveway, and the Packard's already there.
Surprise.
Yeah, right. It's been a while since I saw this car. How'd you pry this out of Tom's hands?
I said, hey, Tom, you want to sell it? No. And just like everything else, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. When I first seen the Packard, I said, hey, that's a Packard? This thing could look just as nice as any Merc.
So the whole thing with this car is I thought it was a great-looking vehicle. I mean, what do you want to do with it?
I don't know. I just got the car. My goal is to let it compete with a Mercury. This, I want to be the new lead sled. So that's a Merc eater right there. If it's done right, we could give the Merc a run for its money all day long.
First sentence in the conversation, Victor says, this is going to be the Merc killer. I'm thinking about his last Merc we did, and he cut the roof off it. And I'm like, oh, man, we're not cutting the roof off of this Packard. Whatever you're thinking, all I ask is don't mess with the roof line. That's my favorite. That's my pride in the whole project.
Yeah, no, I love the way the chop came out. It's perfect. The rest of the lines, we could do a minor adjustment on it.
I've seen your minor adjustments before.
Well, you know that, but it's got to be crazy.
Victor and I have built a lot of cars together. He likes to go from top to bottom with all his builds, so who knows what could happen with this one. You know, I'm into the crazy stuff, man. I always thought we could go way further with this, and the chop was a good starting point.
The whole drivetrain has to be replaced to something modern, right. So yeah. Let's see what we could come up with, you know, kick it around.
Victor's kind of vague. All I'm getting out of him is that he wants this thing to be a driver like the rest of his fleet. They're all road-worthy vehicles, and that's where this Packard's lacking.
I want to have this thing on the freeway doing 70 miles an hour with no problem.
Sure.
So where do we start?
Most straightforward ways is just get maybe a mid-70s Camaro or GM front subframe. That gives you the disc brakes, the power steering, and the mounts for a V8 engine. From what I can see, to make this thing a perfect driver is just put a modern front suspension clip under the hood, put in a new engine, and this thing's a runner. It's good to see that this car is going to get taken one step further. It's a great-looking machine. I think whatever you add to it's really going to make a big difference.
I don't want to change that much, but I want to change everything, right? I mean, hey, if I can't utilize your ability, you've chopped the car.
Right.
To me, that's baby stuff. We're going into full body remodification.
We're having a simple, or so I thought, simple conversation about putting a front clip under this thing, and then Victor's walking around the car. He's talking about adding this, doing that. Fortunately, he's not talking about the top, but he's talking about everything else.
We just want to bring out them bulges, and we want to bring out the lines, and we want to layer on the ground. Whenever I'm around Ian, the lights turn on, and all of this stuff comes out of my head on ideas. I mean, on the spot, it's like the switch is on.
So we're talking about this Packard, and he's saying Merc killer. It's got to be better than the Merc, yada, yada, yada. So he pulls out his black Merc, the Misfit. We built that a few years ago. It's a great-looking car. He's looking to take it out with the styling of this Packard.
I'll be darned if that doesn't look better than this, because you know every project we've done has always been over the top. I see the Packard being a Merc eater, and that people are going to be buying up Packards throughout the United States. So if you have any money, start buying Packards.
So all we need to do is make something look better than your Mercury. No problem. But I spent a lot of time underneath that Merc. That's the thing. I know what's underneath the car, and it's really clean. It's a total freeway machine. There's 2 different classes in a car show. There's mild custom and full custom. That's what I do. This car left the shop as a mild custom. Somehow it found its way into Victor's hands, and you know where it's going. Full custom, baby. It's time to take it all the way. I'm totally into it. Let's do it. Victor's gonna come by today. He says he's got everything. He's got all the parts we need for the front suspension upgrade, and I'm just gonna work on getting this Packard ready for construction. This is like deja vu, like I'm viewing it all over again. It's amazing. The cool part about this project is the greasy, nasty part is done. Victor has a team of guys at his place, and they took out the engine and trans. He's got all the front sheet metal unbolted, and he's already talking about donor vehicles, so I think he's got everything pretty much sorted out. Pulling this nose apart, I know when it goes back together, it's not gonna be the same car. Victor has hinted at a few things. It's kind of an ugly nose on the car, so taking it off, just hopefully when it comes back together, it's way cooler.
Check it out, I got your clip. You wanted a front clip.
Oh yeah, perfect. What the heck is this thing?
1997 Grand Marquis. I know I went a little nuts
You think so?
instead of just cutting the clip off.
Right.
I cut the rest of the car off.
Yeah. You forgot to tell him to stop cutting. That's the problem. Kind of surprised that he drove this thing over, all in all, but you could see it's a driving vehicle.
I mean, the thing runs bitchin', the horn works, and you gotta take this thing for a drive. It's so smooth.
I'm trying to laugh it off, like, all right, yeah, I can't wait to cut this thing apart. And Victor's like, no, man, you gotta drive it. This car is smooth.
Not bad, huh?
I think it's a good contender, man.
Well, shit, he had more fun than I did. He was in the parking lot burning out and having a blast.
Just like any used car salesman, the test drive seals the deal. I kicked the tires, I did some burnouts, a couple donuts. This car's a keeper.
When he came back, he said, yeah, that's gonna work. But little does Ian know, I have different plans. At first, when we were talking, I was thinking just the front clip.
Oh, sure, makes sense.
Then as I started taking it apart and drove it, I'm thinking the whole car, utilizing everything, even the pan, everything that's here, air conditioning, computer, motor, disc brakes. I mean, do you know how much time and money will save?
Now the story starts to flesh out. That's why you left the floors. You
That's
want to
why I
put the
left the
body
floor.
skin on this whole car. So Victor pulls the old switcheroo, you know? Oh, well, we're not actually going to cut this one apart. We're going to use the whole thing.
So the challenge is to put that body on this car. We want that to be a 1997 Grand Marquis
With a Packard
on a
suit
Packard.
The old Emperor's New Clothes trick. Bottom line is Victor wants to do a body swap. He wants to cut the top of the Packard body off of the floor pan and put it onto this floor pan from the Grand Marquis. You want to leave this dashboard and everything.
We're gonna leave the dashboard because we're gonna do the fiberglass coming down into it and
I
just
see.
modify what's existing. It's all gonna get reworked to 50s futuristic instrument panel. Don't ask me what that means, but it sounds damn good.
It's a great concept, but they're 2 way different cars. And I just want to put them side by side to see how it's going to line up. The wheelbase is definitely off. Did you even measure this? It looks like the proportions are pretty far off. What's the deal? You guys did some preliminary?
My thumb, I looked at it like this and like this. No, I'm kidding. We got some measurement. Don't get me wrong, there's a couple inches here and there that need adjusting, but it's pretty close. It's really close.
I could see they're less than a foot apart. I know Victor is well thought through in all of his processes, but when we put them together, you can clearly see there's some issues. And I'm like, hey man, did you measure this? Did you take the time to really think this through?
I said, well, kind of. And you know me, I'm always ambitious. You know what? My thing is, I just see with my eyes. Mechanical stuff, I don't give a shit about you. That's your issue. My thing is that this to go onto that. How? I don't know. That's why I brought it here.
I see. Probably my greatest fault to date is to tell you, you know what? No problem. We could do this. No sweat. Victor was just saying, this is gonna happen. He thought about it enough to know that I could pull it off. I guess that's all he needs. Another walk in the park, as usual. You said this was gonna be an easy one.
For step one, if we achieve this, wait until you see what's coming next.
Perfect. It looks like it's gonna be close. Victor left it up to me, and the only way to tell is to cut it all apart. So you think about cutting a car, and it's pretty technical, but when I think about cutting a car, it's like taking the top off of a tin can, and that's exactly what we're doing here. You have this shape, and you have a lid. It doesn't even know it's a lid. We're gonna make it one and take it right off. Main thing I was excited about at the start of this project is a lot of the hard work is done. The whole demo of this Grand Marquis is done. Body's off, the Packard's pretty much stripped out. The big question is, will they fit together? Hey, that's my seat. Passenger side, thank you. Come on, let's take that car body off. Getting all this sheet metal separated was not that big a deal. So the harder part of it with the Packard is gonna be lifting this body so it doesn't distort. Just like everything else I do, simplest possible manner. I could have built a big structure and raised this thing. Instead, I stuck a forklift right through the window openings. This is called the old rag and welding glove trick. Added it so it wouldn't ruin the window channels and lifted it right up. That there is the symbol of a nice, strong chop top, nothing deformed. The guy who built this knew what he was doing. Well, that being said, that sucker is out that door forever. Away with you. Pretty simple, lift up that body and get rid of the trash. We got something better coming in. Done all you could up until this point, but it just wasn't good enough. I think the biggest challenge here is about 50 years difference in technology. You got two giant metal shapes from completely different generations. That's the challenge. It's like stacking blocks. I'm gonna put this car on that car and see where they clash. Oh yeah, and that's how the tires are supposed to sit. The back laid down perfect. The best thing I was satisfied with was how this car just kind of bottomed out. No scratchy noises, no weirdness. It just clunked right on the floor. The back looks perfect. This is exactly what Victor's looking for. That is a huge problem. The thing is, the back went in so perfectly, I was focusing on that to come around to the front of the car, and I could see the reason it's still up in the air. You got major issues in the A-pillar and the dashboard area. He wants to keep the dashboard stock, cut off as much as possible without affecting any more of the structure of the donor chassis. And I really need all of this in here. I already compromised the structure of one. I'm not gonna do it to both. What's happening is the Packard's a triangle coming up into the window areas, and the Grand Marquis is a box. It's parallel, straight up and down, versus triangle. As you bring it down, it ain't gonna work. Definitely hit a major snag in our grand scheme. Just as I'm trying to figure out my plan of attack, Victor walks in.
Hey, how you doing, man? You did it, huh?
I done did it. I have some bad news for you, though. Your call on this frame is perfect width-wise. Tires tuck. It still can go right to the ground.
Okay, good.
The issue I ran into is the dashboard and the wheelbase.
Ian pointed out to me, hey, the dash doesn't fit in the car. Off the record, and don't tape this, it wasn't gonna fit, and I knew it, but I had to challenge this guy. Everybody that I was talking about what I was doing with all my friends, and they said, that's not gonna work. I said, I know it's not, but Ian will make it work.
The whole problem here is not only the issue with the dashboard clearance, but it's also the wheelbase. Well, the wheelbase on the Packard is way out of line. You could see it's gonna need at least, say, a 10-inch stretch if you look at the center of that hub.
Okay.
So this is kind of what I was thinking. We could kill two birds with one stone. If we cut the chassis and extend it, it looks like maybe a foot. In car terms, a foot extension is pretty significant. So check this out, this is what I'm thinking. So I think if we cut off right here, and we can just extend it. It's too generic, just like a ladder frame right there.
Simple.
But it would solve the issue with the wheelbase in the front fender and the dashboard. As long as you're cool with it, I'd like to cut that chassis and bring it forward.
Extend it out, let's go for it and see.
So I explained the fix for the front wheelbase and dashboard issue, and then further directed him to the rear, where I was really proud of how well it worked out.
I want this thing on the ground. Go underground, go an inch below surface, and then when we go up a half inch, there's no questions, it's on the ground.
Victor, you know, he's shaking his head no, because he says it's not low enough. He wants the thing down on the ground. So it's close, but it ain't there yet.
That thing gotta smash beer cans.
Okay. After the talk with Victor, it was affirmed that we needed to stretch the car a foot. This stretch is going to be very straightforward, simply because we're taking existing pieces and just moving them a little bit apart from each other. Look at that. You can make a limousine out of this thing if you wanted to. The way that they put these frames together from the factory, it's a series of metal shapes that are stacked, and then they're fillet welded all along the joins. I'm accomplishing the same thing with much heavier stock. I have my rectangle tube mimicking the shape of the original frame, and I'm stacking another piece on top of it, doing a fillet weld everywhere I can reach, then drilling through and plug welding the parts that extend past the original join in the frame extension. So it's a series of stacked metal shapes, all reinforcing each other. This thing is done. It's time to get the body on. Took a bit of doing, but I got the body on. I got it down low the way Victor was asking for. I had to change the tire and rim combo. The other ones were too wide. Right as I got him on, Victor shows up.
Hey, Ian, what's going on?
What's happening, man?
Where'd the white walls come from?
To get it to lay down, it needed some skinny, tall tires, so I just went with the 560/15 white walls.
That has a stance, you got it down low, it sits evenly. When I walk in, I look at the car, and he nailed it again. He surprised me. Any problem with clearance in the back?
Well, that's why I had to put the tires on, because those fat mag wheels were not letting it lay down. So I went with the skinny tires. It dropped right on the floor.
How about up front? It looks like you took care of all this stuff here.
Well, I had to do a lot of clearancing, and that's where the bad news starts. When you're looking at this car from the rear three-quarter view, it's sitting pretty. It's all good. The front end is a different story, and I gotta break the news. Let me show you how this fender lines up.
Okay.
It's close. In an effort to try to keep it as intact structurally as possible, I've just been picking away at it a couple inches at a time. And then the front.
So what's stopping it from hitting that? Is it this corner?
As you see here, it's the headlight bucket is right on that bolt.
Okay, with this here, the solution, we're changing that anyway. That's all gonna get cut off, and this will sit up a few inches here where it actually comes up. It's going from here up and back down to flow.
Right off the bat, Victor shows me the headlights he's planning on using, and they're a completely different orientation as the Packard units.
And at the same time, we're coming off this level, and then we're coming here and up a little, and then back down. So it's got an enhancement.
Victor comes in and just wipes the slate clean. He wants to restyle the entire front fender. In fact, the entire nose of the car, as it turns out. So if you're willing to just delete the front of both fenders, then it's a perfect lineup. We'll just build around the underlying structure. It's a 10-minute cut. I'll do that, and we can get this hood and fenders on.
Awesome, I'm there, let's do it.
I'm just going to eliminate everything that's in the way. I'm going to leave a small area representing the front where it meets the hood, and that's kind of it. The whole headlight and grille area is out of the fender. Well, now you can see you have plenty of clearance. That changes everything. It eliminates the ugly in the front of the Packard, and it helps me mount the fenders without an issue with the headlights at all. Hey, look, it fits. That's going to be all right.
Damn, look at that thing. That's one long-ass front end.
There's a million ways you can go about restyling a car, and I know Victor's got a plan. He's been thinking about it for a while, and it's not gonna be okay to just mock something up and have him check it out. I need to nail a few of the core lines with him here so that we can get it right.
Probably a little bit more to your left. Yeah, the fender, the tire side. Before you do that, I want to do, like put something up so we got a little high point.
Just like an artist is drawing a line, we're gonna do that same thing. We gotta figure out how to suspend a nice, graceful arc. First call is to try to just pull some tape across, and it looks terrible. It's all faceted, flat, straight lines.
Just up like a quarter, half an inch, and then back down.
Well, I have this round rod.
All right.
I got a pretty good idea on how materials work, so I got this 3/16 inch round rod, and I just hold that up on the same plane as the tape, and it just bows gracefully. Just the weight of it makes a perfect arch.
Yeah, that's it right there. Shit, that's it. After he put the rebar on, he handed me a piece of cardboard.
So, got the little envisioning board.
Yeah,
Try
well,
that
check
out.
this out. Coming from this point, yeah, look at that. That's like perfect right there. So I get it, I fold it over gently so I got the contour of the car. I could literally see what I was thinking.
As soon as he expresses this upper fender ridge, I can see where he's going with this late 40s caddy styling. They have a very pronounced upward curve in the fender, and it's just a super deluxe look.
It flows right in, right off of this line to that line right there. I'm over here going, yeah, man, that's cool. Ian gets quiet again.
That design's great, but that's a lot of metalwork. You got 6 foot on one side, 6 more makes 12 by 3 foot. It's like 30 square feet plus of metalwork. I hope you know somebody who can pull that off.
Did I ever say it was gonna work or not? That's a question. He says, yeah, you're not the one cutting the car up. I go, yeah, that's why I come to you.
I don't want to say it's above my skill level, but I haven't tried this yet. I've cut up a lot of cars, changed a lot of stuff, but I've never done 2 fenders like this. Victor loves throwing down the gauntlet. All I gotta do is run it. I gotta run through all these tasks he's envisioning, and we're on to a new adventure. Here we go. I knew I could swap this body, no problem. These fenders he's talking about are pretty challenging. I gotta match that wire Victor set up on the fender, and a flat piece of sheet metal just ain't gonna work. It's easy to just piece together parts, but to create something from scratch is a whole different skill set, and that's what he's asking me to do. It needs to look kind of like the shape of a potato chip, if you can envision it. It's going to curve this way, and it's going to curve that way. Something for eating salsa. Got to start somewhere, and I'm thinking that the main line of the fender is exactly what Victor created with this round rod mock-up. So I'm going to try to create the biggest piece I can with the tools I got. The first step is to shrink it along each side of the sheet and curve it. Doesn't look like much has happened, but I'll tell you, those molecules are feeling the pressure. Hear that? It's tense. This is potentially a disaster. Victor's asking me for something he conceptualized with a piece of round rod and a lot of hand gestures. I don't have any blueprints, I don't have any sketches, I just have a conversation and I'm trying to build a car around that, so it could go either way. That's pretty darn close to what I need at this end, but you can see it's just a straight shot. So I got some stress in here, and I got some stress up here. And now we're gonna put it in that wheelie thing. Let's see what happens. The 2 tools I'm using are really the standards for any kind of metal forming. You need to shrink it or you need to stretch it. If you're ambitious, you could build a whole car out of this if you knew what you're doing. But don't give Victor any ideas. It's pretty labor intensive, and I'm not that ambitious. Coffee break. This piece is the backbone of the design, so anything can happen, but you need a center line, and that's what this is establishing. I don't know what Victor's thinking. I'm just trying to set up this line, this one line he established. Everything for me has been structural and alignment oriented, so this is the first bit of art. Having done this one curved section for the fender top, I think that's gonna be the same process all the way through. As soon as I figure out this backbone ridge top thing, it's on. So the whole thing with this is gonna be made in so many pieces. I'm just trying to hold it on the car. I'm just gonna start assembling parts. It's kind of like a puzzle that you're making the pieces out of. but I'll be able to take smaller sections for this reverse dip that he was talking about. In getting this fender line to look proper, I had to just trim back, and once I figured out a line that it's gonna join properly, the challenge is to get them to flow evenly. If you don't want it to look like a bunch of bricks on a wall, you want it to just look like a smooth, slippery surface. I never even receive an ounce of praise. I do this all day just to buy food. I even give you the bargain brand. This is an advanced mock-up. I mean, it might be a keeper, it might not, so I'm just trying to streamline it. I don't want to make it twice. I think this fender's a keeper. The whole thing is if Victor thinks this fender's a keeper.
Ian, how you doing?
Aha.
Damn, that flow's bitchin'. That's it, man.
The good thing is Victor walked in and right away you could see the gleam in his eye.
The difference from this side, stock just straight down like nothing, to come in here by just raising this up and giving it an arc here, it give the whole fender like it's on steroids. No steroids, steroids.
Right.
It's in proportion, it flows, and it's gonna eat a Merc.
Well, I was really stressing about the fender creation issue, but if you're happy with it, then the big challenge is what do we do about the grill? There's nothing going on there.
I brought you surprise, so come on out and I'll show you what my idea is.
All right, let's see what you got. Victor's got people. He's got people all around doing stuff. So he tells me he's got some of his guys dropped off a bunch of things in the driveway and I need to check it out.
I've been thinking about this for a while too, like I think about everything else in my mind. And he's looking at me now, what the heck this guy gonna come out with?
Whoa, a Mercury. What is that, 1950, just like your other ones?
1950 Mercury, it was another project. I figured I'd donate it to help you complete the front end on that other project.
Crazy, man, you could sell this for a grip. There's people who want this part all over the place. This thing's in perfect shape.
Yeah, no, perfect shape.
Everybody wants to know where this came from, and the backstory I get is one of his friends somewhere down the line tried to chop the car, customize it, and made all the wrong moves. So apparently what Victor has is a dilapidated, half-rotted, half-assembled Mercury four-door. Fortunately, the guy didn't cut the nose, and that's what we need.
Right here, we don't need the fenders. All I want is the opening in that grill. All the opening in that grill. Here's the original 1950 bumper, front, back.
This is freaking cool, man. I was just stuck on that fender side thinking, what are we gonna do about the center? I'm gonna have to make something just the same, but if you're not attached to this, I'll just cut it up right here and we'll drag it in the shop.
And he says, hey, Victor, you attached to this thing? I said, well, heck yeah, I'm attached to it. It's a 50 Merc front clip. I'm bringing you the front opening, the mouth. And he looks at me and says, I think I need a little bit more than the mouth. Doesn't matter if I'm attached or not, we gotta do it.
Okay, there you
All
go.
right, cool, let's do it.
As soon as I saw him give me the look, I knew it was on, and I rushed to the shop to get the tools. I'm ready to cut this thing.
He comes out with a grinder, and I'm going, wait a minute, you know, shit, that's a $3,000 front end, and he starts cutting the hell out of it.
Sometimes building a custom car isn't pretty, not in the beginning stages. Everybody knew this had to happen, but going through the experience is somewhat traumatizing at times.
And I was tripping out. I was like, wow.
That finishes it, man. It's never going back to stock.
Ian, my car, what the heck you do to my car? And then I turn around and see Ian's dog. Dude.
He's concerned.
And even the dog goes, that's a 50 Merc you just cut up. Look at his face, he's saddened. Dude, sorry. You'll be okay, you're going to good use.
Let's take this Mercury inside and see what she's got.
The anticipation of bringing that front end up to the Packard, I was like, I gotta see this, I gotta see this. Here she comes. That's a trip, huh? putting this grill to it, it gives it like this masculine, like a bulldog, literally. Like maybe that's why the dog was tripping out. He probably thought it was his relative. Look at that, it's like,
I can see a clear path to victory. This nose piece is a game changer, but it's gonna take a little bit of doing though. I gotta trim out a lot on both cars to get this thing in position, but this nose thing takes it to the next level. Getting this Merc front end ready for the Packard. It's a rusty old car, it's been sitting around. I'm gonna clean as much of the rust off as possible just so I can start to get an idea of how this will fit on the car. Yeah, let's see. Yesterday this was way out. Now it's way in. See, the look is really good, the way it mates up to the fender, but it's way wide. It looks like this nose is gonna get sectioned into 3 or 4 pieces. The 2 headlight shells I think will mate to the fenders really well, and I'm just gonna cut it apart and fit it up on the car in pieces. See that? Right up to the headlight, mates into the fender, just perfecto. And we don't want it to look crooked or weird, so I'm gonna build a jig so that they're parallel and at the same orientation. So I can weld it right to the headlight bucket. I want them to both be at the same plane, and they'll still be parallel. The big thing is to just get these headlights positioned, and then I can hang the grille and move forward from there with the sheet metal. I have to build the whole passenger fender, which is an exact mirror of what I accomplished on the driver's side, and then I'm gonna sheet in around the headlights. Fenders are a sure thing. The big concern is this nose and the way the hood is gonna come into this grille shape. The Packard nose comes to such a point, if you continued it forward at that trajectory of the 2 sides, it would be like a little triangle shape. And we don't want that. We want it to have like a really pronounced hood. So Victor's got another Merc hood I'm gonna have to section in so that the front end's a little more bulbous. So this is the hood from the Merc. It came off of the same car. You can see it's in darn good shape. It looks terrible because it's completely rusty, but it's not cancer rust, it's just surface. It's almost a shame to cut this thing. Victor's got the resources, we're gonna cut it. Somebody will pay a freaking mint for this thing. The decision has already been made, it's out of my hands. Strangely enough, the one piece we're saving is the only place on the hood with a dent. There are a few things that I won't cut up, and this is right on the border. This is gonna be a tough one. Just made every other 49 Merc hood that much more valuable. That's all you gotta remember. What a shame. It would be way easier to just try to graft this little nose section on, but I want this ridge. And it'll actually be a much stronger join if I lap it to the Packard, so it'll be like a big diamond shape. That's why I'm completely ruining this hood, but it'll allow us some artistic window of opportunity. Oh, that actually don't look half bad. Sure switched up that ugly Packard. The Packard looked like a beak, a bird's beak. It was just way out and it's very thin. The Merc knew as a really wide, low car. And this really, it's a half and half. It's just, I can't believe it actually fit. Seeing that this Merc hood worked out was a relief. Now I just gotta figure out the lower portion. The cool factor about the Merc grille and the hood is it's got its factory latches in place. So by lowering this section, you'll see there's a structure in here that is designed to mate up against this. And since I need to lower this, I'm going to have to section it somewhere. So I'll section it right through the dent and then repair it, weld it back together. So it'll have a strip coming right through here. I've got a clear path to finish out this nose, and it's gonna be all right. Splicing these 2 hoods together was a pretty straightforward process in simple terms, but the contours of both sides are way different. So this is now our surface height of the hood. So it's coming through. You see how it's lifting towards the bottom? It's coming right through here like so, until it blends in. So this transition here is gonna be very hard to make. It's another compound curve, but right where that wants to change, I was thinking if I put a scoop in there, like you see on the Mercs, then all of a sudden the contour wouldn't need to be made. It would turn into a scoop. I don't know where the idea first came from for these scoops in the side of the Merc hood, but you see it all the time. It's a really cool thing. It breaks up the side profile of the hood a little bit. And because we have a mismatch in contour, I think it might just be the perfect fix. A little action in it. See what we come up with now like this. Actually, that don't even look half bad. But it definitely handles that weird mismatch for sure. My first inclination was to put the scoop forward. Maybe not that forward, but somewhere between here and here. I know Victor likes that classic element though. I got a few ideas to make this happen. I just got to sell Victor on the idea. I'm working on getting the bottom corners of the hood rounded. You see that all the time on custom Mercs. And I'm gonna mock up this side profile that just may incorporate a scoop. I gotta show it to Victor. So this is now the new shape of the hood opening, and I'll finish off the shape of the fender surround with the smaller rod. So this will be a nice radius hood edge. You see it on a lot of customs. Victor's got it like that.
Ian, what's going on?
Hey, man. Just kind of getting this hood together.
Oh yeah, what a difference, man. I haven't seen the car in a while. I came by today and that thing looks crazy. It follows the rest of the curves on the car. Curve, 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 curve. The more stuff I give them, the guy still continues to like go beyond my expectation on everything I have them do for me. Cool. That's real good. So what are we gonna do now on the hood here?
Well, that's the thing, you know, the transition from the Merc to the Packard is a little weird. But once Victor digested the look of the front of the car, he was really pleased with it, but then I tell him about the problem, and that is in the side contour of the hood. I want to show him the mock-up for the side panels and see what he thinks about this scoop idea. You know, I'm glad that the front worked out for you. I kind of just did that because I know you like the look of the other car, but the placement of the scoop is something I've been struggling with, whether it goes ahead of the axle line or behind.
Yeah,
so.
Looking at it in proportion wise, I think it should be not quite half, just a little forward here. Let me see.
Yeah,
Wow.
just whatever you like.
Coming in, and it shouldn't really be that drastic. So that's kind of the opening. And then from here, I mean, I'm just gonna draw it. It kind of ends in no more than a 1/4 inch, just to come in, just so there's the scoop line there.
Victor loved the idea. It was really just about placement. He wants it in proportion with the hood. He came up with a solution, and I was feeling really good about it, but Victor had other ideas.
The modification isn't over yet, so don't do this until the bird sings.
I just licked it, man.
I
Game
was gonna
over.
say till the fat man sings, but I can't sing with the shit. I still got some tricks up my sleeve, which I haven't even told Ian about yet. The modification isn't over yet.
Okay.
I really want to get this thing to my house and just to like see it every night so I could kind of feel it and I want to look at it. Something, you know, once it's there, you know me, there'll be a slight modification.
Right.
Next time on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel continues the Lead Sled Challenge.
The main thing I knew bringing the car over to Victor's was that his head was going to be spinning with ideas.
He looked at me and said, oh, that's a good idea, but I could see in his mind, I thought I was done.
I'm feeling like the world-class mountain climber that just summited Everest, and Victor's in the back of the car with like a whole new battle plan.
I want this sucker to bulge.
But Victor's surprises don't stop there.
I've been thinking about giving this car to Craig.
Okay.
The only thing is, his birthday's in a couple weeks.
With the pressure on, Ian's got a plan to pull it off.
There's nothing like hitting it when there's inspiration in the air. So I'm telling Victor, let's just cut it. You'll see what I'm talking about.
When he was talking to me, I didn't quite understand what he was trying to tell me.
Who cares how much effort it takes to get there?
Wow, that's right on.
It's the end result that counts.
Easy, Ian. I don't got insurance on it yet.
I think this is a keeper, man.
Yeah, no, look good, but hey, you didn't have your seatbelts on.
Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel transforms the inside of a 1949 milk truck.
The whole concept with the interior of this is like pirate ship. I've been thinking about that for a while. I want it to be my dream shop truck.
But a simple shop truck isn't enough. Ian's got to take it all the way.
It's going to be modular. I want it to be able to convert from work truck to camper pretty easily.
So Ian rounds up a crew of mercenaries to help get the job done.
I hate being the brains of the outfit.
The goal here is finished interior. And it's like, who knows what could happen. Oops. There's always a problem. You know, the best laid plans, there's a statement about that. This is a 1949 International Harvester. It's a Metro van. It's pretty rare. This is a shorty model, so it makes it very desirable. These are big commercial trucks, so I say shorty because this is the shortest wheelbase available. I got this van because I want it to be my dream shop truck. This is like perfect. It's enclosed, it's a van, it's heavy duty, and there's tons of room inside. The whole thing about vans for me is the interior. It's all about what's going on inside. The truck's in primer right now, and I'm cool with that, but the interior's horrible. I love the way that this thing was set up from the factory. It's got this cool seat that tilts forward. I redid the bracketry on that, so you kind of just get in like milk truck style. I made all new steering column, foot pedal controls. The whole interior has been revamped. It's nothing like it was because it's so low now. I've done a whole ton of work on this van, but for any cool custom van, it's all about the interior. And if you want to have a party in here, this stuff ain't gonna fly. I gotta fix it. The thing I like most about this, it's just funky. You don't see them. I've had VW buses since I was 15. I've always loved them, and this is like a big brother to a VW bus. It's like the next bigger size. It's able to tow. It has a good V6 engine with a manual transmission. It's the same idea as the VW bus, but rarer and cooler. My whole concept with this is like a dual-purpose vehicle. During the week, it's a work truck, and on the weekends, it's a play vehicle. I want it to be able to convert from work truck to camper pretty easily. I got a couple ideas for this van. Getting started on the interior, I'm gonna go to this van show and just see what's happening. The van scene is kind of like a 1970s time capsule, right? It's like everybody's playing dress up. You got your bitchin' vans in a row. I mean, this is what's happening. My friend Don came along to this show. He's been into vans since it was happening in the 70s. I like vans because they're really focused on the interior. Sure, they got cool look on the outside, mag wheels, whatever, but it's all about what's going on inside the box. The wild thing about vans is it's just like ultimate self-expression. You can go in any direction. You see theme vans, fantasy vans, just anything goes. Seeing the van show was really cool, and it just got me inspired to get mine finished. Just to kick off the project, I really want to see the finished color somewhere on the vehicle. I've been looking at rust for way too long. I'm going to bring in my friend Bob. He's a painter. I want him to just do the dashboard. Just give me some inspiration, Bob. Hey, man.
How you doing, man?
I'm having a hard time with the sander. Good thing you showed up.
That's what I'm here for.
Bob Gore's a fan of mine. He saw the first DVD we produced. It's going on 10 years, I think. It's been a while since we did that, and Bob has been on board ever since. He's come out a bunch of times to help me with my different projects, and here he comes one more time.
Ian's working on a project, and he could use my help. He said he could use my help, and so I thought he'd come out and work with him again. Every time I get the opportunity, I'd love to come out.
The main reason I call on Bob to paint stuff is because he's stoked. He's like gung-ho, he loves the projects I work on, and that's a huge asset. Instead of just dropping it off somewhere where somebody's ho-hum about the project, the dude comes across the country and nails it. That's commendable. I got this thing I'm trying to finish. I picked this thing up almost 2 years ago, and you remember my silver shop truck?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I want to paint this silver, because this is my shop truck. This is the '88 GMC pickup.
Really?
I took the whole frame out from under it, so it's got the motor, transmission, front and rear axle, and I just put this body on it. So you know how reliable that truck was.
Yeah.
That thing was unstoppable, so I wanted to reuse it. So that's really what this is in essence. The only thing that's left from the original sheet metal is this nose section, the roof, and some portions of the body.
The way Ian had described it to me was nowhere near what I didn't expect to see what I saw.
This rear bumper is the front bumper from a F-150 Ford pickup. I made the license plate flip up, and then you have your trailer hitch hidden in there. So if you're gonna tow a trailer, it just goes in. The whole idea with this van is it's a keeper. I'm to the point in the project where it's all about cosmetics.
Is it gonna be the same color as the outside?
I think the whole thing's gonna be silver all the way through.
There's so much more bodywork that needs to be done to it. Instead of me painting the outside of the vehicle, he needed me to do some work on the interior.
So really, I'm working on fabricating this whole back end. I got a lot of framework and stuff to do, and you can see how crappy this looks. It's got this bitchin' glove box where you can keep all kinds of stuff up here.
Yeah.
But I just want to get rid of the rust. You know, it's all flaking off. So I just want to sand out pretty much from here down, just the whole front cab. Just got to get it base coated so it doesn't look like a haunted house in here.
Sure.
This was in a blueberry bush way up north, and somebody was living in this thing for years. See that hole under there?
Yeah.
There was a wood-burning stove on the dashboard. That's why the windows are cracked from the heat. And there was a chimney. Look, you see the hole going right through? There was a chimney that went out the top. It had signage on it that said like Andy's Place or something.
Yeah.
See, all the windows were painted black, so some kind of hippie was living in this thing, and I needed to have it. Some ghosts or something.
Definitely got some patinas showing.
Right. I'm not going for that. So I think I'll get in here and pull the gauges and the switches out. That way I'll get the steering wheel off and you'll be good to go. So I'll just get all this crap out of your way. This is even the front seat from the pickup truck. Reused the whole thing. I gave Bob a little wish list, told him what I was looking for, and just go to work. He knows what he's doing. I guess he's gonna sand out everything, primer it, and paint it.
Normally, it would have been media blasted. It had so much patina on it from back in the day that he actually felt that it was a little too far gone to go to that extreme. So what we did was we just sanded it down and got it as ready for paint as best we could. And it still came out really good.
Spray it up. It'll be the same color as the exterior, that cool metallic silver. I really flip-flopped on color choices for this thing for a while, but I was looking through an Eastwood catalog and they had this silver metallic, and it just looked right. Ultimately, the whole van is gonna be this cool silver metallic color. Right now, Bob's just gonna primer it and then wait about an hour, I guess, and go right into the color and clear coat. This truck looks like a giant toaster, so I wanna paint it silver. The metal flake goes with the whole 70s van vibe, custom stuff. I just mellowed it out a little bit. I didn't go for the heavy flake, I just went for a metallic, but this color's cool.
As I laid it out, I could tell it was spraying really good. It covered nicely. I thought it was really good, but the most important thing was Ian was really happy with it.
This looks totally clean, man. I'm stoked. It's way better than it was.
All right, well, thanks, man. It means a lot.
Bob's paint looks great. I just needed a no-brainer, somebody come in and nail it, and that's what he did. There's a lot of fabrication to be done on the interior, a lot of wood and upholstery, so I needed to just get the dashboard painted and move on to this more challenging stuff. This van being dual purpose, I want to build a deck across the whole rear of it, so it's like a platform bed. It's going to be made out of angle iron, I think 2-inch. The whole thing is it's got to be strong and it's got to fold up. This is the start of the rear deck. The whole idea is these panels are going to fold up and become the walls of the van when you're in work mode. And then if you go camping or whatever, this is actually a big mat. It's a big bed you could sleep on. I'm going to work on fabbing up the structure out of angle iron. I came up with some material that could act as hinges, so Bob's gonna build the hinges and I'm gonna build a frame. This is a really simple barrel hinge design. It's just a solid shaft that fits inside of a collar. Bob's just cutting a bunch of blank pieces and making sure they pivot right.
Since we're fabricators and body men, we don't like to go to the store and buy hinges when we can make them.
I thought we'd need 8, but 6 seems to do it. I just welded them right onto the interior structure, so once we cut this in half, the 2 sides will flip right open. I built one big square frame. My plan of attack was to just build it, cut it in half, and it should hinge. Turns out the van isn't square. Surprise, surprise. There's always a problem. You know, the best laid plans, there's a statement about that. Typical stuff. Oops, the van wall is angled in, and I had to go a little backwards. What do you think, dude? It's gonna be your nest. By angling the rear of this bed frame, it actually gives you way more room to sit in the back door, and it looks cool.
His work is always an inspiration to me, and that's why I love working with him and being involved with his projects, because you can never get bored being around Ian.
Let's just fit out the panels. We'll cut some wood pieces and we'll fit up the walls, and that's pretty much it for today. The next step is to sheathe this thing in plywood. It's all gonna be covered, it's just gotta be strong, nothing fancy. It was really cool to see this platform there, actually constructed. I've been thinking about this for weeks, and it turns out it works great. It hinges perfect, and it's super strong. I need some material for the walls. They're gonna be upholstered. I had a couple acrylic sheets, plexiglass. It'll work perfect. You could use pretty much anything. It's gonna be covered with vinyl in the end. I just cut it to fit and put a couple screws in it. What do you think, man? You need a couple bean bags, a few bongos.
Cooler full of ice cold beverages.
I really thought about how this was gonna work, and I decided by butting this frame up against the door jambs, when I lifted them up, they were gonna clip into place, and it worked. Every one of my projects involves a lot of just winging it. Standing back looking at this, I'm really stoked with the little V shape in the rear, the seating area. It looks great. This is just the first step. The goal here is finished interior. This is gonna be a real challenge.
I'm really enthused about getting to work on it, and I'm really glad he did this project, you know, for himself. You know, it's something really, really nice.
I got a few different concepts for the interior of this van, and I'm thinking fancy pirate ship. Something really deluxe, kind of boat feeling. My buddy Jack's an upholsterer. I've worked with him on a bunch of projects, and I'm gonna go to him for some advice.
This will be one color though, huh?
I think
Are you
so.
gonna make this?
Unless you do the piping with a nice...
Yeah, we'll do it. We can do that in a lighter
Yeah.
color, or like you said, silver maybe.
The truck is silver, so I'm gonna leave it up to you. Surprise me. How about that? I'm open for whatever.
This you can run the seat belts.
No
if you want.
seat belts, no
Okay.
safety. It's 1949.
Oh, you don't need them.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you don't want that there. That's ugly. Yeah, I'll have it done.
Perfect. Thank you,
I'll
sir.
have it done by dinner.
Perfect. I'm a resourceful guy, so my plan with Jack was to just have him give me a shopping list. I was gonna go out and get all the stuff he needed. I need to buy like 20 yards of vinyl, 10 yards of carpet, a bucket of spray glue, interior panels, the whole 9 yards. So if you got the spot, let's take a ride.
Well, we'll go up there and I'll show you what they have.
He's got the skinny on the cheapest fabric in town. So we went to this place here in the valley. It's awesome. They've got all kinds of foam, every type of fabric. It's like full industrial supply house. They got everything. I walked into that place and I didn't know where to start. I mean, I was charged up. It's like, this is men's shopping at its finest. Oh yeah, that's like headliner.
Material. All different colors.
Maybe I should just do it in this. Jack showed me around all the different samples of vinyl they have. They got a million different foams. So he just kind of directed me to the least possible expense and the best quality for the money. This is pretty much how I roll. Show me to the dismembered packages. I want the interior of this van to be dim, kind of like a cozy bar you might want to spend some time at. I'm thinking like oxblood, dark, red, burgundy, something like that. But I love contrast, so I want like a light tone to offset it. I found exactly what I needed. I just got to get back to the shop, finish up the walls, and get on to the final upholstery. So all I did on this was just went through just as efficiently as possible. I put in gussets on every join. I put in a couple extra braces, and I added these few tabs. If you could see, it the way it's sitting. I only wanted to have one post in the middle, right over the airbag arch, but that lets the whole thing flop around pretty bad. I made a removable brace that supports the floor. It just pops out, and when you close it, it adds extra support. I gotta clean all this stuff up, get the rust off. It's recycled material, but I just made this little brace that actually clips into the back of that bed. I did a front one and a back one. You can see how it's gonna go. All you do is set it in little clips. Just pop it in the shape. So that's really tight fit, but I think once I sand it and stretch it out and bounce it a few times, it'll get better. Dirty surfboard. It shows you I need to go surfing. Look at how dirty that is. I don't remember the last time I went. But now that I got my van, I'll be able to go. So the whole idea is you got your bed there, and then all that free space under the bed to scratch your surfboard on. How's that sound? That sounds great. Wow. These damn novice surfers, they don't even know how to put their board in the truck without scratching it. It's all right, now that I got my van, I'm gonna be a local. Before I get started on finishing this thing, I'm gonna put all the wiring in, that way it's hidden, clean, out of the way. Got this bitchin' wiring assembly from Painless. Apparently it's everything I need. Pretty simple. They tell you right on the wires what they do. The whole idea with this is they're gonna be hidden under the carpet. I don't want them outside underneath, and you'll never have to mess with this. This is all brand new, so you can see everything is pretty straight ahead. This guy's gonna go up where the old one was. And the engine stuff will turn around and go right through the firewall, and then the interior wires will come around, go up to the dash, and then come back to the taillights. These are simple trailer lights. They look pretty ugly when you see them on trailers, but I made this whole surround and kind of Frenched them in, so it gives it a whole new look. In the end, you just get this cool round tail lamp. That's all you see. They look kind of old school, you know? Whew, that was the easiest wiring job I've ever done. This interior thing is something that I'm really looking to have more experience with. I've done a bunch of stuff, and each time it gets more complex. The hardest part for this van to me is gonna be the rear quarters. The whole thing will lay out pretty easily. It's the corners that are gonna be such a problem area. It's a really hard shape to make out of flat sheets of material. So to me, that's like the pride of this whole interior, is creating these corner panels. Jack explained a couple ideas on how he would have done this. And I guess he takes a series of paper slats and creates this shape and glues them all together. I don't have any paper, so I'm gonna try to do the same thing out of metal. We'll see how it works out. Trying to take a flat sheet and make a dome out of it is really hard. It could be done with metal, you know, it's just gonna take time. This idea of layering these pieces, you are overlapping them, kind of like a lobster tail, or if you see like a metal glove in like a knight in shining armor, the way his fingers actuate. Same concept, it's just a number of layers overlapping to create a compound curve. This van had a huge amount of rust repair, so I saved the walls. That's just what I do. I replaced both walls on the van, I saved the old panels, and now I'm gonna reuse them. The main reason I decided to use steel is because I have this slip roller from Eastwood, and I knew I could just cut a few strips and roll them right into shape. This is a slip roller. The idea is it takes sheet metal and makes coils out of it. The idea is there'll be a series of these that overlap each other and change their angle, and then I'll trim it all back. So the first step is obviously this one right here, because we want it to be bigger than the rest. My whole process in everything is just figuring it out. You know, point A to point Z is in a zigzaggy direction. These rear corners are pretty challenging, but I feel like it's gonna work out. The hardest part for me was figuring out how all these pieces were gonna come together in this compound curve. Once I had the top and the bottom panels in, I knew filling in the rest was gonna happen. I used a whole bunch of screws to hold this thing in place. I tack welded it and really just finished it off with the hammer until it looked as smooth as I could get it. So you can see this side is the overlaps. It's not that big a deal. There's still plenty of room back here. And I could have gone about this like 100 different ways, but this took about 20 minutes and I used up some scrap metal in the process. Just trying to figure some stuff out. I don't know what more to say about it. I'm told that this foam will stretch to the contour of this. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to put 2 layers of foam in here because I'm trying to make it as smooth as possible. I don't want it to look faceted or choppy. The whole idea with my plan of attack is that 2 layers of foam and then the headliner material should smooth out all the rough edges. And we won't know until it's all glued up. I got this spray adhesive that works like paint. You put it in a spray gun and it works like magic. It's super strong, it stinks amazingly, and it's a lot of fun. I cut out the headliner material, glued it up, and it's time to put it on. We'll see what happens. Something about the way I work, it's just I go increasingly faster. As soon as I'm comfortable with something, I just move on it. And I think that's how I'm so productive. The way that this glue set up and everything has come together, this is happening. So if you look close, you can see these lines through here. In an effort to minimize that, I'm gonna put one more layer of foam on. Definitely better than it was when it was a piece of metal, that's for sure. This is the headliner material. I'm gonna use the end of the roll in case I mess up. This stuff's a little dirtier than the rest of it. Some kind of material laminated to the foam on this headliner, so it might stretch differently. Everything worked out with the foam and the upholstery. It's time to put it in and see if it actually looks right. See, it's a perfect corner. That is deluxe. After I got this quarter nailed, I was excited to see how some vinyl looks next to this headliner material. I took the piece that surrounds the rear door and started with that. I put it in the sheet metal brake. It seemed like it fit perfect, so I went ahead and glued it, foamed it, and then went to the vinyl. The whole issue with this process is once you've glued up the vinyl, it's like a giant sticker. So if you fold it wrong, it's ruined. I don't know if you ever used a sticker that big, but this is pretty daunting. I just kind of felt it. I don't know, I used the force. I went out of my body for a moment, looked at it from 6 different angles, and committed. All the fabric I'm putting in the interior is pretty much a background tone. I really want the wood that I'm using to be the highlight. My friend Nate, he's a cabinet maker. He's an expert in his field, and I'm gonna have him help me design the dashboard.
Hey Ian, what's up?
Working on getting this dashboard situated.
Right.
See all this stuff I'm building out in wood is pretty simple, but I need something really cool. I know you're a cabinet maker, and I want to do something that's really special. Like you walk in the door, and this is the main entryway.
Right.
The whole concept with the dashboard is going to be like a wood structure. I wanted to have cup holders, lights, bells, whistles. This is the focal point of the whole interior.
Okay, cool. So we want to go like the old school van used to have the cup holder in the middle, except larger version type
Exactly.
of thing?
See, the engine's under here, so
Right.
the whole thing is just going to sit in somehow, not fasten down. That way I can still get to the motor. I could just take this thing off.
Okay.
But I'm thinking like these dimensions, you know, this kind of angled shape, about this tall, and really the sky's the limit.
Well, I'll sit down and draw a few versions of it for you, and I'll come back and we can discuss it some more and go from there.
I don't even think you have to draw me a version.
Really?
I think you should just build it. I know you got kind of an artsy thing going. You're a musician. I hear you guys next door. So just like build your cup holder, man. Build something you think is badass, and I'll
Okay.
use it.
And you can hear us next door?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't even need to use the radio. Cool, man. Well, I'll be here. Just let me know. Thanks. After going to that van show, Don has not stopped talking about his old ride. He's got an old Dodge van in the back lot, and he's been doing nothing but talking about getting that thing back on the road.
I bought it from a neighbor probably 10 years ago. He had it for many, many, many years.
The whole concept was get all the mechanical stuff back in order, give it a good cleaning, and put it on the road. But we just started digging through it, and we found some really interesting artifacts.
Did you see the book that was in this?
It's still got some magic. This was inside. This is the real deal. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Whoever owned this was definitely a van head. He's got custom van books, all kinds of owner's manuals. I mean, this dude was on it. He was all about the van. Don's van is really a time capsule. It's the way it was built in the 70s. You know, you're pulling stuff out of this van, and it doesn't happen anywhere else other than the 1970s, Van Nuys Boulevard. It's cool, man. Let's get to it. The cool thing about Don's van is I wouldn't change a thing. You know, looks like it was done in the 70s, and that's why we didn't want to change it. You know, I would drive this thing every day. This van was pretty crusty. The one redeeming factor is there's no rust. You know, this thing was sun-dried, but I think that was the saving grace. It's got the shaggiest of carpet. This thing's a disco inferno. I think one of the reasons this van was parked was because the exhaust manifold was broken. You don't know that until you start it. Cast iron exhaust manifold's a pretty challenging weld. We're choosing to arc weld this manifold because Don has these nickel electrodes, and that's the proper thing for welding cast iron. You got an arc welder and the right stuff. The whole thing about arc welding is there's no gas like in MIG welding. There's no wire that feeds, so you're literally just burning the electrode, and then this coating on it is the flux, for lack of a better term. But it works on cast iron. It was a good thing that the manifold needed some attention, because it ended up putting new gaskets through the intake, the exhaust, you know, right out the back. Everything's freshened up. Runs great.
No smoke?
No nothing.
Well, let's drive it.
The big charge in helping Don out with his projects is, you know, these are things that he totally loves. That's why he has all this stuff. And seeing each one come back to life is really rewarding. You know, you see his eyes light up because he remembers when it was actually working, you know, and here he is right back in it. Don's stoked. He's like Mr. Van in 1969 all over again. I think it's bringing him back a few decades, and he's feeling good. So this whole vinyl interior thing is coming together pretty cool. All the panels are pretty much mocked up. I just have to do this last one and then skin the doors. I've made panels that fit inside every area that's going to be exposed. Got that board with foam and vinyl on it. So it's got the dashboard. I think the silver paint works great with this dark burgundy color. I'm really stoked. It just makes it look luxurious. The whole concept with the interior of this is like pirate ship. I've been thinking about that for a while. Something kind of classy, boat inspired, definitely outlaw. That's the whole van thing. I just thought I might put some kind of a nicer finish rolled edge on this thing, so it doesn't just look like a hard square. But when I was buying this material, I bought a wrong piece. And this one must be like for a door stop or something. But I think it'll work perfect for that rolled edge I was looking for. I'm doing what I can with what I got. Interior dudes can go off on this thing and spend a year on the interior. You know, I'm trying to do something that's feasible for this work play vehicle. So the whole idea is that this fabric just makes a little bit more of a presence on the front edge. See that? Just looks a little more rich. Definitely looks cool. Got an idea. These doors are pretty rough, and to body work and finish them, to paint them would really be a huge time-consuming process. So I think I'm just gonna glue vinyl over them. You know, so far, anything that needs to be bitten, licked, or chewed on, he's like all over it. I couldn't ask for a better assistant in the licking and chewing department. Come on. It's time for glue, and you know what that does to you. You lose all your composure. So this looks really great. I love the way the dashboard came out. Yo.
Hey, Ian, what's up?
Hey, man, what's going on? What do you got?
Hey, you know, you kind of left the artistic impression up to me on this thing, and
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in recycling anything and everything I can get wood-wise, especially when it comes upon, you know, some good hardwood. So
Exactly the channel we're on here, too.
And this is Ipe wood. It's from South America. They use it on decking a lot. And what this is a piece of handrail that came off a deck that was redone. So I got 3 or 4 pieces of this, and I was thinking that we would use this as the cap for the handrail on that thing.
Nate stopped by, showed me this recycled piece of wood that he has, and it's gonna work out perfect. Yes, I'm totally down with that. That
Okay.
sounds great.
Cool.
So what you're saying is that this will actually be the cup holder in here?
Yeah, we'll drill right into the top of that and create your cup holders.
Okay. You got a plan.
I got a plan.
The roof skin is the largest panel. It's the biggest challenge in the whole deal, especially because it's hanging upside down. It's got to be screwed together right, and I don't want it to buckle or look lousy. Because the roof is hanging upside down, there's a pretty good chance for it to warp because all the pressure point is hanging on the screw heads. I put some metal strips along each side of the panel that should help give it strength. All this is a hemmed edge. You can see is a sheet metal panel, comes around the edge. That way it's just a lot stronger. This is a pretty simple scenario. You have your backing board, you glue some foam on, glue vinyl, and staple the backside. It leaves a pretty generic looking panel. I got this idea that's gonna spice it up a bit. Got all these wooden slats. I think it offsets the color pretty cool. They're gonna be roughly a foot, 16 inches apart. The whole idea is the strips go lengthwise down the sides and the roof. It just makes it look cool, I don't know. There's gonna be wood strips every 16 inches. I mean, there's gonna be wood on the roof, there's gonna be wood on the walls. I might even put some outside, maybe even wooden rims. That would be ridiculous. The devil's in the details, just getting the rest of these interior parts installed. Got to give respect to all the guys who do interior stuff. This is a very simple design, and it's really a workout. You may ask yourself, how does one guy hold a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet on the ceiling? Don had a pile of firewood, so I screwed a piece of firewood to a 2x4. Got to adapt and overcome. It's the only way. This is what I'm thinking. I sit here, and then I stick this right here. Hold it up. That's using your hand. One of the last things I need to do on this van is probably the most gnarly. I gotta cut the glass, and it's like, who knows what could happen. In an effort to do everything myself as usual, I decided I was going to take on the challenge of cutting the glass, and it has proven to be quite an art form that I'm not very proficient in. I thought that cutting this glass would be a pretty good challenge, and it has been. I made templates for all the windows. This is the windshield, basically a mirror, driver side, passenger side. I bought a huge sheet of glass, and I've been slowly but surely destroying it, trying to learn how to cut this stuff properly. There's a plastic laminate between 2 panels of glass. That's what this safety glass is. So the plastic is pretty tough. The idea being when the window breaks, it doesn't shatter all over you. The way you cut the glass is you score both sides with the glass cutter, crack it, and then put some flammable liquid. I was using denatured alcohol. You light it on fire and melt the plastic. The guy at the glass shop didn't want to do this job for me. It's part of the reason I ended up doing it. He had an issue with an employee who spilled the denatured alcohol all over himself and didn't realize how flammable it was. You don't want to light yourself on fire. There it goes, all by itself. Ta-da! So the last step in this whole process is finishing off the edges. You want to pretty much polish them because any imperfections in the edge could cause a stress point, which will crack the glass in the end. Found the easiest way to rough out the shape is with this diamond wheel. It's for cutting tile. Has like little pieces of diamond fused onto this metal disc. But if you're just right about it, it works pretty efficiently. Getting the glass in was the last thing. Now this thing's weather tight. Interior's in, the van is ready to roll. The van's together. I got the airbags in, it's a driver. The big secret it's hiding is it's my old work truck. It's a 1988 GMC pickup truck. From the radiator to the gas tank, I modified the whole thing and put this international body over it. So it drives like a modern vehicle. It's got a Vortec V6 with a manual 5-speed. Airbags all around, it's a bitch and ride. I got the seats back from Jack. They look sweet. It was his whole design with these stitched ribs and the grommets. I saw a seat he had there, and it translated perfectly to these two shapes. I chose this kind of oxblood color vinyl for the interior because I just thought it would look rich. You know, the exterior of the van is pretty mellow, but when you look inside, it's pretty special. My friend Nate made this cool console-like bar thing. It's just one of the things when you walk in, it's the focal point. You know, it's a really nice piece of furniture. This thing is immaculate. It's better than anything I could have made. I spent a lot of time on the structure of the fold-down walls. I wanted them to be very usable, so this whole hinge and steel mechanism I came up with has proven to work well. The whole concept with this van is its usability. You know, it's not a show car, so the back is set up to load and carry whatever, or you can hang out in it. That's the whole idea with this. It's a utility vehicle. One thing to work by yourself, but a project like this, it couldn't come around this quickly without some help from some good friends.
He works outside the box so much. I don't think Ian's ever seen the inside of the box. He has no limitations. You're never going to see an end to his creativity. His creativity is what he feeds off of, and that's the best fuel for any fire anybody could ever have.
I saw a quote, it was attributed to Jerry Garcia. It said, you don't want to simply be the best at what you do. You want to be the only one that does what you do. And really that, you know, it's kind of something I've just stuck in my head. When you're dealing with someone's prized possession, their passion, the last thing they want to see you do is go at it with a frickin' knife. It's like they're thinking, oh, good times. No, that's later on. Right now, it's war. Put the word out, I'm looking for some new projects. Right away, my buddy Tom hits me up. He says, hey, my friend Bob and I, we got a project. Come on out and see what we're doing. That's a Buick, right? With the portholes on the side?
Yeah, it's a 55 Buick. Yeah, I've always got a bunch of projects lying around. Probably too many. Got it from my dad, I guess. You know, he was always into hot rods and motorcycles and things like that. That's where I got the bug from.
So this thing is cool, man. We could totally work with this.
It's a lot of fun watching Ian walk around like a kid in a candy store, looking at all these different cars that could be potential projects.
Right behind it, across the driveway, is this early 70s Pontiac. This is cool.
Yeah, it's the Uniroyal Thrill Driver stunt car, Joey Chitwood. They used to jump them through hoops of fire.
Right, at the fairgrounds, they
yeah,
do all
exactly.
kinds of tricks.
They had stunt drivers, Uni, Roy, and Al. This is Uni. The other two cars, I understand, are gone. So this one's kind of got some history to it.
I've never built one of these cars. I'm intrigued. You know, if Bob wants to jump through the flaming hoop of fury at 150 miles an hour, he's called the right guy. We can make this happen. It's cool. What is this? I'm already digging this car, looking through it, and I'm like, but wait, there's more. What's up? Is this your shop inspector?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know where these car-loving animals come from, but they do exist. We have evidence.
The dude could never fit in the speaker hole in the rear deck. But you can never replace the shop inspector. He's A number one. But hey, we're on location here. We're gonna need some support. Interesting project, man. I can't wait to get started on this thing.
This isn't it. He seems pretty excited about everything that's around here, but he hasn't seen my hot rod yet.
So I don't recognize this truck shell. Is a Dodge?
Nope, International.
Oh, wow.
I'm excited to see what Ian thinks of the work we've done and the work that needs to be done.
I've done a bunch of international stuff. This is old though, like what, 30?
Early to mid-30s.
Walking up on this project, Tom's giving me the spiel, hot rod, etc. But I see it was set out in this pasture for a reason. It's definitely a basket case. Oh man, what's up with the back wall?
There should be a window here.
You ain't kidding.
Right, but it was apparent. It looked like it had been in a wreck. There was a pretty big dent, and the sheet metal was wavy, so it had to go. It's an old farm truck, you know.
I see. The wild card with any old project is the damage or the rust, or the damage and the rust in most cases. And this truck's got a good dose of both. It's not even there to debate. It's pretty rough. Well, I mean, it's definitely unique. The fact that it's an international for sure, but is there like a thing with this? Family heirloom or?
Well, there is. I've wanted an international. And when I was looking for a hot rod project, I went back and forth, Chevy, Ford. I kept coming up to international. Well, I struck a deal with my neighbor to get the international. But once we got it home and Bob and I took a look at it, it was really obvious how rough it was and how long it had been sitting.
We started on the cab, and it's got a great style to it, but we kind of gave up on it.
I know it. It's not the prettiest looking thing to look at, but I see the potential in it. I'm really hoping that Ian does too. I know it's pretty rough, but what do you think?
In this, I can see the potential already, right away. But is there more? I mean, cars, they come with like 3 or 4 tires. You got a cab and a bed and a cat. Look at this thing.
So Ian's like, where's the rest of it? And that's when I get really excited, because this is what Bob and I have been working on for some time, and I'm really excited to see what Ian thinks about it.
Oh, so you guys aren't kidding around.
Nope.
This is cool.
Thank you.
Right on. You know, I deal with a lot of pipe dreamers, you know, guys with a piece of metal and a dream, but
right.
I didn't realize you guys are already nailing it. You've been on this for a while.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I was hoping to see. Now we're talking cars. So I don't recognize the frame. What did this come from? You built it, or?
This is custom built.
Nice.
Tommy and I have been building this chassis for quite a while, off and on. We were kind of at a standstill on it. We reached the point to do the body work, and I don't do body work.
Hot Rod Bob, he's been doing this for quite a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's one of those guys that you can learn a lot from.
This is the easy part for me, but that body work, are you sure that thing's hammered?
Well, I mean, I can definitely handle the sheet metal work. If this thing runs and drives, we're in business. You guys got a deal.
All right, cool, great. He was asking if it runs and drives, and he says if it does, he's in. Heck yeah, it runs and drives.
And like instantly, they're grabbing tires, wrenching on stuff, strapping seat on there.
It's perfect. 2x4s, ratchet strap. It's gonna be awesome. This definitely looks like you're gonna need a stunt helmet. There it is, it's all you, baby.
It's all you, Bob. They don't call him Hot Rod Bob for nothing.
That's the thing, there's something to be said for seniority, you know. Bob knows his stuff, he's gonna be the test pilot. Period correct, man.
Okay.
The reassuring thing was, at the turn of the key, it fired right up. There it is.
Just seeing it drive around, I'm getting excited.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a total hot rod for sure.
Absolutely.
Somehow, super rough projects are like cosmically drawn to me. It's nice to have one that is pretty far along mechanically.
So, are you into it?
Oh, 100%.
Sold.
All right, man.
Totally cool. Let's do it. I can see that this truck really means a lot to Tom, and that's cool. That's why I'm here. You know, I really want to help him out, whatever it takes. Tom's international truck seems like a really good project.
He's telling me that, you know, him and Bob have been building the whole thing here at the shop, and I am more than welcome to set up camp here and do what I need to do. You know, this is definitely a good starting point. The body, I do want to see it on the chassis, though. That way, you know, when I get into chopping the top, I want to see how close to your head it's going to be.
I don't know about chopping it, man. Look,
What?
you'll see.
That's exactly why we want to put this thing on. I got to see what's happening.
Don't scratch my authentic patina.
Tom's done a couple really wild projects with me in the past, and I'm excited to get the cab on the chassis, see what he's working with, what ideas he has.
Okay, now here's the problem with chopping it.
I see no problem at all.
Well,
There's almost no metal to chop. Isn't it
keep in
awesome?
mind, I'm like 6 foot to 6'2", depending on what liquor store I walk out of.
Oh.
Now watch this.
In Van Nuys, you're 7 feet.
The problem with chopping this is, as you can see, you bring this roof down any, and I can't see.
Right, you're already sitting on the floor. You can't get any lower.
Right.
Well, I mean, we got to do something, man. Maybe we could just raise the roof, you know? Bring it up 4 inches instead. We have plenty of room. I was surprised, but it made sense, you know? Tom wants to stay pretty mild on it. He's a tall guy. He doesn't really want to chop it. I'm just going to wait it out.
I kind of get what you're saying with the chop top. Maybe we could do something cool on the back, you know, put in a cool back window or something different. I mean, all this is pretty ratty. So I think from here, wrap right around. We'll just blank it in, and then maybe we can do something cool with the back window.
I got a couple options for the back window.
Options, baby. It's the spice of life. Let's go looking. Hot Rod Bob is a collector. He's got some stuff. I've gotten a few treasures from him in the past. My kind of collection.
Here's this.
Oh, yeah. That's a ship's porthole.
I think you've used something like this before.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like a camper window.
Yeah,
for
is it?
sure.
Yeah.
That's like almost as wide as your cab.
I really like this one, then, man.
Yeah, you try it out.
Yeah.
See how it looks.
I've got one more option.
All right, let's check it out.
Search continues. It's all about keeping an open mind.
Oh,
It's the original.
why didn't you tell me that? You had that.
I was a little surprised to see this window frame. You know, it's the original.
That's stock right there. That's factory.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bent, but it's usable.
Yeah.
It's really all up to Tom. You know, we can do something really wild, full custom, chop top, the whole deal. In the end, it's Tom's call. It's his truck.
First things first is to repair this back wall. You know, I love the fact that the chassis is driving, so let's not take out the gas tank or anything. Let's just pop the cab off, set on a dolly, surgical procedure, like a surgeon's table, like a lab.
That cab is pretty rough. You know, we got a lot of work ahead of us, but I need to take a closer look.
Now, class, there are a number of things wrong with the back of this truck. So right here, you see it's out right here. And that's a lot, right? And then on this side is the exact opposite. So you got the roller coaster effect. If I was to follow this line with the sheet metal, this is what it'd be doing. It's like way the heck out of shape.
Not really sure if Tom knows how far gone this truck is.
So the good news is I got a plan, but the not so great news is that instead of just putting this wall in and fixing the window, we kind of got to rehab the back third of the truck. There was numerous impacts. Instead of just putting in a window, let's just fix the whole back of the truck. It's gonna be way better for it. We'll clean all this crud out of here and we'll make it nice. It's never too late to shop it. That's the whole idea here, you know what I'm saying? So once I start working my influence, my hypnotizing ways. How many fingers am I holding up, right? You're going left, you're going right.
No chop.
Going down a hall, you're turning left, you're turning right.
The bottom line is we need to create a whole new rear panel by any means necessary. When you're dealing with someone's prized possession, their passion, the last thing they want to see you do is go at it with a frickin' knife. It's like they're thinking, oh, good times. No, that's later on. Right now, it's war.
It's like visiting the dentist. Don't be nervous.
Oh, man. Yeah, but even the dentist is painful.
Open your mouth.
It's very hard to watch. Was I expecting him to cut out the whole back of my cab? No.
All right, so now we're gonna do a little tar paper template lesson.
Tar paper?
My neighbor was putting a roof on his shed, so last night I did a little shopping. He was done, you know, he didn't need that.
Okay.
Tar paper isn't your typical template material, but it works, and you gotta use what's available.
Man, if I mess it up, I'll just blame Ian.
I can tell Tom has concerns. You just gotta work through it.
Ian's a go type of guy, man. He just jumps right in and he starts getting to work. And it's a little bit hard to keep up with him. All right, so why do we put a square tube down here at the bottom and what's with the rod? But I'm trying. So this isn't gonna look like I've got some beaded line going on.
You know, I just gotta say this. You're the most inquisitive client I've ever worked with. You're hitting all the bullet point questions, and I appreciate that.
Good. Well, I'm asking questions because, you know, I'm concerned, I'm curious.
The whole idea with this is you start with a little oversized and trim it back. So this is the story. I mean, the challenging part is this one corner, but the center just falls into place. So you see what you're getting, right?
Oh yeah. You'd think that going this method would be all choppy and archaic looking, but this is already looking smooth.
Because I got style, my man.
You do.
What do you think you're dealing with here? Got the rear panel in, and we're just checking it out. Now I have to ask. So now the only question I have is, how much are we gonna chop it?
Say chop one more time. I dare you. I double dare you. Ian's relentless, man. He really wants me to chop this truck. I'm thinking no chop, man. I'm too tall. You chop this thing, I'm not gonna be able to drive it.
Still no?
Still no, man.
How about the porthole window? Grab that thing.
Porthole window, all right.
Maybe we can get crazy with the window. Right dead center, man. Ah, look at that. It's perfect.
It looks like a minion.
It does. Yeah, definitely on the same vibe here. No porthole for sure. That's too weird. But the one contender was the oval.
Too weird for Ian.
Well, I'm saying it's too weird for you. I'd have half a dozen of those things in the back of my car. Whoosh.
I gotta take a look at this from back here.
Not sure if either of these are gonna work, but it's his truck.
It looks like a welder.
It does, it looks like a welding helmet.
This is a welding helmet.
Right.
You know, I like it, but I'm thinking that's more of a, if it was necessary, we would use that one.
The only thing I'm thinking about is that the stock one's kind of beat up and dented. We're gonna have to do a little process to that to make it work. If you wanna fit that one up, we'll see how far out of shape it is. That's totally a contender. I mean, that's the right window for the truck. The only issue is, just like the back wall, this thing is all smashed. Both of these panels, we're gonna have to straighten. I mean, and if you reverse it, the theoretical flat side on here, you can see it's way out. That's like an inch off.
I can see how bad it is. It's really out of shape. You know, I mean, I like it. I love it because it is the original window.
I can tell Tom's really set on this window frame. Let's see how bad this thing really is. Let's use some envisioning tape. I put this stuff on everything.
Think that center?
Once the envisioning tools come out, it gets kind of serious. What do you think, higher, lower?
Right there, stop. So Ian takes that back window frame and puts it up against the back of the cab with some tape. Yep, it's not looking right.
I mean, the window looks good, but it is bent. It's totally out of shape.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
There's always a porthole, man. I know that thing is perfectly round.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's pretty rough.
Look at this arch here, and look at this. Tell me it doesn't look like it's out of shape completely.
A little over 9 inches, about 9 3/8 right there. And then we come here, we're almost to 10.
That's what I'm seeing. It's just whacked out.
I'm really hoping that Ian can pull some tricks out of his hat to make this thing better.
The good news is we can fix that thing. I got a plan.
You got a plan?
Yeah. About to get medieval on this.
Yeah.
When a piece of metal gets bent, especially sheet metal, the molecules, they get rearranged. It wants to stay in that shape. Heating it up with the torch anneals it. It makes it soft again.
Is this one of the tricks that he has in his hat? I don't know, but I mean, it looks like something that came out of a barbecue. It doesn't look like a good idea.
As well as annealing it also tends to burn it up. That does not concern me. The steel isn't burning. All the crud that's on it is. It looks pretty rough.
Are you sure this is gonna work? What do you mean? Dude, you roasted my window.
This is a pretty unique shape we're dealing with here. So the next step is to make a little dolly tool that we can hammer the thing back into shape with. Red on that side?
Yes, red.
Hi-ya!
Dink.
Looks pretty darn close, eh? The idea here is when you're away from your shop, sometimes you gotta improvise. You see that dent anywhere?
Yeah, man, it's
Dent
gone.
disappeared.
Man, it was a totally unorthodox way of going about it, but it worked. Ian managed to straighten out this window frame. Wow, man, you did it. Look at that.
Done. Tom is super stoked. It's looking good. Now it's just all about the welding. It's the scariest part of sheet metal fabrication is your potential to warp it. The way this is set up, I'm just making every effort to minimize the warpage. Hi-ya!
Wow.
It's not as good as the porthole, but it's pretty good.
No, man, this is better than the porthole. It's such a relief to see it fit back in there.
Man, that looks like a truck. It's a good looking window, man. Good call.
That's awesome.
That old window frame ended up fitting in there pretty good. Almost like it was designed that way. Call this repair complete.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna skim this with filler just to take all these little weld dots out of here, but that's pretty darn straight.
That's amazing, man.
Tom's pretty psyched. I wanna put that cab back on the chassis and see what else he's thinking about. That looks a little bit better, man, for sure.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Seeing it back on the chassis, it's really cool. I'm kind of tripping out.
With the back wall there now, you really get that feeling of how raked it is. I really like the stance. Everything that Tom and Bob have done so far is really good. The one thing though, the back wall's totally outshining the rest of the rig now.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like, hey, I'm a back wall. I'm brand new. I'm an old truck.
Yeah? What should we do about that?
Well, that's the thing. There's two options. You could bring the whole truck up to that polished steel finish, or you could try to just, mellow out the back wall. I don't know what the end game is, what the goal is.
One thing I don't want to do is throw a whole lot of money at it. You know what I mean? I think just matching that panel to the rest of the truck is probably the way to go.
That's up to you. I'm gonna do a little body filler on there, but that's your baby. You're the artist in the house.
I'm the paint guy?
There you go.
All right, I'll do it.
It's your truck.
Yeah, let's see what I come up with. This is a challenge. This is a big, important part of the build. I mean, this is the characteristic of the truck. I don't want to mess it up. I don't know if we can pull it off, but in 2 weeks, my car club's got this meet coming up, and I think it'd really be cool to drive my truck.
You know how I roll, man. I'm budget conscious all the time.
Yeah.
You can make that happen in 2 weeks. These projects can just linger, I'm not saying Bob and Tom were slacking on this, but it's been in progress for a long time. Having a deadline gets everybody motivated. I got a couple ideas for this bed. There's a huge hole in it. Number one, that's all that's bugging me is that, you got your gear. Typically you throw your stuff in the truck.
Yeah, to be honest, I really didn't think about what was gonna happen back here. I don't know, I'd like to see what you have in mind.
I think we should make literally a trunk section here and then cap it. Put a tonneau cover right at this level. That way you can secure it. Nobody's getting at your battery, nobody's getting at your gas tank, nobody's getting at your goods.
I see what you're saying. It definitely will make it look more of a finished product if there's something going on here.
Let's do something steel as a storage bin, and then anything goes on top as long as it fits your aesthetic of what the truck's gonna be. I'll work on that sheet metal stuff, and then, you know, whatever you can come up with on this bed cover.
Wow.
Made some progress, sir.
Geez, I guess. Wow, dang, look at that.
So that helps it out quite a bit.
That's
huh?
gorgeous. The rest looks like heck, but that's nice.
Bob came in and he was jazzed. You know, I explained our plan. I got this idea for the shape here, you know, to accommodate these mechanical parts. So if you guys can figure out something for this cover, I'll work on getting this trunk area set up.
I was telling Ian, you got plenty of stuff out here. I'm pretty sure we can find something to make a cover.
Oh yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff laying around. We'll find something.
I let those guys go on the hunt. It's Tom's truck. They've been collaborating since the start. I'm interested to see what they come up with. The dog is here because the cat quit. I don't know. It just never showed up for work after the first day.
Dude! Yeah, man, Ian brought the shop inspector in today. That's really cool. It's been a while since I've seen the dude.
Now that we got some progress, I figured I'd bring the quality control, you know? Just a little check up on things. I did a little sheet metal work back at my shop. So I was thinking it's gonna set right on that cross member and weld right to the frame here. And I'll just put some sides on, so you got this big hollowed out area.
Nice.
The idea with this is it's just a storage spot in the bed. You know, I wanted to get it all set up so that I could finish it off today. This is super basic. I just put this on the sheet metal brake, did a series of folds, and you see I put some little X's in there just to give it some rigidity. And I didn't put walls on it in case we had to change the shape a little, you know.
Oh man, this is gonna work. Oh wow, this trunk that Ian built in the back of the bed, it's really cool. It's gonna come in handy. Yeah, Bob and I, we went and picked a couple things out of the yard for possible cover.
Yeah, let's check that out. This can go in at any time. I was curious to see what they got for bed cover options.
Yeah, check this out.
It's a car hood, right?
Yeah, 68 Mercury Montclair.
It's a big car hood.
It's got a pretty cool body line on it.
That's kind of neat. I did a roof of a hot rod with something similar to this. It was a Mustang hood. I mean, if you like it, you know, to extend this would be a little challenge. You know, you'd have some body work and whatnot if you wanted this detail to come through. Inspector seems concerned. There's a lot of noise from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, no, is it a no?
There's that stink eye. What do you think? Doesn't seem very enthused, man.
No.
He's a lot happier walking in. All of a sudden, it took a nosedive.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no on this, but I got one more option I want you to check out.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure if it would work, but I figured I'd throw it out there.
The old picnic table. Oh, totally cool. It's wood, it's old school.
It just looks like something that would be in the back of the bed of an old truck.
What do you think about that? Better than a car hood, huh? Heavyweight. Checking it out. Getting a lick of approval. See, right away, you know. That's a good call. He's really into it, and typically when he likes something, he's not afraid to show it. It was his idea. Give him the action.
I prefer the wood in the bed, and dude liked it too. I'd say we're soulmates, but I'm pretty sure that's him and Ian, and so we're just good pals.
That's a keeper. I think we're going with this. A friend of mine does a lot of woodworking and faux finishing, and sometimes for a panel like this that's so fresh and new, he'll take a propane torch and just blast it, like the old Wild West town, you know, with all the gnarly finish. Would take this store-bought looking piece and make it fit to your vintage truck.
Yeah, I'm all for making it look more old school. Like you said, it's a new piece of wood, so again, I'm excited to see what you do with this.
It's gonna be awesome. Look at that. I know that look. As soon as the eyebrows start doing that thing, he's bored. He wants me to get to work. It's time. They say the dog and his master, you know, tend to really become one, you know, and it's true. I don't know how we communicate, because it's usually just like, we get the point across. It's crazy. So the idea is I'll just weld this to the truck, we screw that to the plywood, and I'll weld it right in. The whole idea with this is to hinge up from the back of the cab. So the natural shape of this plywood, if it was screwed down, it would flatten out, but it ain't. So I think we just put some ledges under here, so that way when it hits that, it'll be kind of a pressure shut. Oh man, it looks like $100, $1 million.
Yeah, I'm glad we went this route. I like this a lot.
The real question is, what's it look like after we burn it, baby?
I'm excited to see what this is gonna look like.
Yeah, me too. I've never done this before. I just saw it happen, so.
Wait, you've never done it before? Ian says, oh, I've never done this before. And then he hands me the torch.
The whole process with this build is inclusion, you know? A client can just pay and come back when the project's completed. I like to terrorize the client, engage the client. That way they really appreciate the rewards.
Yeah, look at that.
I think the darker it gets, the better it looks. Keep cooking it.
I should have known this was gonna happen. I'm on Ian's wild ride.
That looks pretty distressed.
This thing's fun. Actually, I liked it. I'm glad Ian had me do it.
Man, that looks awesome. It was pretty freaking bland, and this made it look as old as your truck itself.
Yeah, man.
That's cool. I was surprised, you know, I figured it would work. I've seen the results, but never been through the process.
Oh, wow.
That really helped the whole rear view of the truck, in my opinion. That thing is nailed.
I'm blown away, man. This was a good choice.
Couple more little bits, and you're in gear, brother.
Yeah.
I was just finishing up the bodywork on the rear of the cab, and the guys are putting in the taillights.
Yeah, I got these cool 1942 Ford taillights. They're the right measurement height-wise to fit that one spot at the bottom of the bed.
It's a bunch of loose ends on this truck, and I know Tom has some ideas about the paint. We haven't really talked about it. I'm just gonna let things develop.
Oh, man.
It's getting there. My goal is to get this thing as straight as possible. That way, when you go forward with the paint, we never have to go back.
Ian's giving me the task of matching the paint. I've never done this before, and I'm kind of nervous. I just want it to be done right. When you give me the go-ahead, I'll slap some paint on it and then scuff it up.
For sure. Well, I'll make it perfect, and then you can screw it up. It's awesome. And I got another idea for your bed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the whole thing with that bed cover, tail lights. I got one other idea I want to show you, too. I was thinking how cool this bed looked. You know, just always bring it up a little bit more, maybe. You know, it's wood. I thought it would just be cool to have a metal accent to kind of bring it together. Like those little slats in there are neat, but what if you had something that was even neater?
Okay, neater.
That was even cooler. But if you put that in there, all of a sudden, it transforms.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the mixture of metal and wood.
Tom had to hit the road, so Bob and I are still trucking. You know, we're gonna keep this thing going.
Since it runs well, might as well have it look nice.
Hey, back window, clean engine, the whole
Yeah.
9 yards.
Yeah.
Bob was cleaning up the engine, and I wanted to finish off this storage area in the bed. To fit this up just on the fly like I'm doing is a lot of testing, you know. Put it in place, mark it, react to that. This is my improvised sheet metal brake. I consider one of my greatest assets to work like a caveman. Set up your line, set up a big old hunk of steel, and clamp it.
It's a pleasure working with Ian, and watching Ian work, I've kind of thought to myself, I need to learn this stuff. Oh, yeah. That's nice. It's sweet.
Yeah, I'd make a heck of a cooler.
Yeah.
I have no concerns about the structural integrity of this thing. And I know Tom has some ideas about the paint. We haven't really talked about it. I'm just gonna let things develop. Tom is a friend who works at Encore Auto Detailing. They do powder coating as well as a lot of other stuff, so he dropped off a few parts with him. I got the cab ready for paint, and I'm curious to see what Tom has in mind.
Hey,
Yo-ho!
man,
It's happening, baby.
you got a lot done.
Yeah, it's totally bodywork. Primer is dry, ready to rock, whatever you want to do.
Well, speaking of paint,
Yeah.
I've got an idea. I took this panel to the paint shop,
Right,
and I had them match this green right here,
right.
and loaded it up in some rattle cans, right? And see how it's all nice and patina. It got a little bit of white and some ruddy red.
Right.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna layer the paint, then coat it in the green, and then I'm gonna hit it with some sandpaper, some Scotch-Brite, and try to get this,
Like faux finish.
yeah, exactly.
That's a cool idea.
Ultimately, my goal is to make it look like nothing has ever happened to this pickup cab.
Yeah, if you can match this to what you got going on, then nobody will ever consider that this back wall was even messed with, which is kind of neat. I'm interested to see how this develops.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna give it a shot.
Have you ever done this before?
I've never done this before, and we'll see what happens.
I like Tom's concept, and I really like the fact that Tom is embracing the idea of just winging it.
Working on the last piece that I thought I would need to build, and that's this windshield detail. How are you planning on holding the glass in for the front windshield?
I didn't have much plans for that at all. I mean, I figured Lexan, screw it in, slap some sealer all the way around it.
Like race car style or
Yeah,
something?
and we're done.
I was looking at the way that this windshield area is set up, and it has these two lugs in it, just like the Model A, where it would have those little dials that flip out at the bottom. I was thinking about making one like the Model A. Let me show you Bob's setup, and I could pretty much duplicate it.
Okay.
Maybe even make it better.
Model A Ford has a similar style windshield frame, so I wanted to show Tom Bob's car.
You know, the cool feature of this is that they pivot out, so, you know, it gets hot inside the car all the time. So it's got a little lock nut, and then these deals push out the window so you can drive around with ventilation.
Ian's window idea kind of reminds me of my dad's hot rod pickup from when I was a kid. It had a safari window. I like the idea.
You know, this is a little more stylized, I guess. If we had one of these frames to modify, I would do that for sure, but I could take some aluminum C-channel and mimic this design.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's definitely better than what I had in mind. It's gonna remind me of my dad every time I pop open that window.
Awesome. I'm getting started on the windshield frame, and Tom's jumped right into the paint. Tom's just got the style, you know? He's like the Fred Astaire of the paint world, you know? He's got a flow, he's got a rhythm, he's dancing it. Pretty interesting process.
So I'm gonna start by just making a frame out of this square steel.
This truck's been around a while. There's been a lot of different hands in the process, so someone's changed the center of the windshield upper portion for some reason, and it's really misaligned.
You know, you want the top of the windshield to be straight because it's gonna be a hinge up here. Look how far off that is.
Yeah, somebody hit that with a grinder.
That's way out, yeah.
Just like most things I fabricate, I start with a template and then I make a final piece. So this steel part I'm making is the template for the aluminum frame that's gonna be there in the end.
So now you can really see, you know, that little gap difference. I'm gonna take this whole thing out, but that's perfect. I'll make one more of these and then just put it together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the point where I become concerned. That's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Making the aluminum frame in the end is pretty specialized. I have the big TIG welder at my shop, so this isn't a job to be done on location. The template I can bring back, come back with the new one.
That's the shape of the windshield frame, and it's even as opposed to the truck. Whoa! It's like St. Patrick's Day up in here. Look at that green. That is hideous.
It's gonna be a process. And yeah, I hope it works.
I'll try not to judge the work until it's done. Really cool to see Tom taking the reins on this paint. You know, he's got a plan and he's going for it.
Pretty crazy, man. I didn't know where you're going with this, but now I can see all these different values coming through as you scuff it up.
Watching Ian, I've learned sometimes you just gotta get in there and go. And that's pretty much what I'm doing with this paint.
I know it's 5 times more work to make it look like nothing happened, but I get
Sometimes,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna see how bad I can make it look, you know, but you know, in a cool way.
That's what I'm seeing all over this truck, right? It's not just patina, it's like abuse.
Right,
There's a lot of
exactly.
damage you
Yeah.
gotta replicate.
Tom's getting all Bob Ross on it, you know? He's got some happy little details over here. He's got some conceptual stuff over there. This looks like it might work.
I've got patina.
That looks horrible, man. You're doing a great job.
You know, I had faith the whole time.
Hey, I'm gonna cut apart your truck once more, so.
Again?
It's gonna make the windshield a little better. This front angle iron, I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna make a whole new mount for the windshield.
Brought the template back to my shop and made the same windshield frame shape out of aluminum C-channel. Put an aluminum piano hinge on it and showed it to Tom.
So while you're doing all that scratching and scuffing, I got your window frame.
Awesome.
Got a little hinge on there, and then that fits right up in here.
Oh, nice.
The advantage of making an aluminum windshield frame is that it looks cool. You know, when somebody looks at it and you say, oh yeah, it's hand built, you know, it just gets extra points with the judges. So we'll put a lot more screws in, but the proof is in the test. Does it close?
It shuts.
Not too bad for some old scrap aluminum.
That looks great, man.
So you can see how flimsy it is. What I really want to do is, in addition to putting glass in here, I'll put the knobs on there and then the little sliders, so you could set it, you know, I mean, if you wanted, you could set it way out here.
Now, I love it when Ian does something outside the box, or really extra cool. He's taking my build up just an extra level.
We're definitely hustling this, man. It's gonna happen for sure. We just got a couple more details, assembly, modifications, and this baby's ready to rock. Tom's club event is only a couple days away. We got a bunch of assembly to do. I got a couple surprises. You know, we got to get things finished. Got this truck just about wrapped up. Tom really pulled off this paint job. He's been working overtime. Brought it out here to Hot Rod Bob's compound, his testing facility. It's looking good.
I feel great, man. I look at the truck and it's like I can't stop looking at it. It's so cool looking. Yeah, I got these mufflers from Porter, and I think they look great, and they sound fantastic.
It's all about the details in the end. He's got the grill all finished, the headlights installed, the rims are powder coated. This looks awesome, dude. I mean, the patina is something I wasn't expecting at all.
Right,
It's
yeah.
freaking cool. Everything about this truck came together like really clean, man.
Yeah.
You know? The clincher for our deadline was this car club meet that Tom's been talking about. He's invited everybody over. Today is the day, and the truck is here.
The Defenders Car Club, man, it's just a great bunch of people. Yeah, there it is. Check it out. They've seen the truck from the beginning. They've seen it when it was just a rusty cab and bed and had no hope.
I remember the day you got it. You were like all proud of it. We're all going,
It's really cool to see their reaction to the truck, you know. They're walking around it, they're checking it out. Yeah, Ian built this trunk area in here.
Oh, it's a great little truck.
And we're getting the thumbs up from everybody.
I think the biggest satisfaction of getting this build together is the fact that it really does look like a timepiece. It looks like nothing ever happened to this truck, which is pretty different for me. It's kind of awesome.
Oh, I love it. I just like the stance and the looks of it. It's got the right look for what I like as far as a hot rod. The truck actually has history, so that's pretty cool to put that back on the road and have it keep some of its original look to it.
I heard there was going to be a race. We came here on a mission. There's a reason we came to the racetrack. Tom wants to race Bob, or maybe Bob wants to race Tom. I don't know how it's going to work out, but there's two cars here, and they're going in the dirt. There's no time like the present. Now, I want you to remember one thing. Go that way really fast.
I'm not saying that I'm gonna win or anything, you know, but it'll be a lot of fun to just get out there with them and tear it up.
I know he doesn't stand a chance. I have a little bit of practice on this track.
I'm here strictly for moral support. It's like a parent raising their child. I've done all they can, and now it's time to set them free.
I'm having fun. I'm all in it. I'm going for it, and then nothing.
This is just par for the course. You know, it's a maiden voyage. It runs great in the driveway. You start slamming it around the dirt, there's gonna be a fail rate.
Here I am. I just built this hot rod pickup. I'm out here having fun with it. I got all my friends watching. The truck dies on me.
That is dry. Yeah. Tap on the float bolts to see if it helps. Something. Don't be so traumatized, man. I've been doing this for 20 years plus. This is typical.
Come to find out, it was the fuel cap, not venting. So fix that, and well, it's great.
The truck fires right back up, and I'm back in it.
All right, champ. Now, I don't want this little setback to get you down. We're still in the race, man. I got some leeway with the referees, and they're going to give you a timeout on this one. And I think we can come back stronger than before. The thing here is all attitude. You know, you can't get rattled.
Ian's being a really good pit boss, and I'm digging it. I'm loving the help.
This is the vintage race that you read about. 34 Internationals racing a Model A Ford. I mean, this is cool old-time stuff.
Yeah, that's how you do it, man.
So I get out there on the track, you know, the first couple laps, and I'm loving it, man. I'm learning what the truck can do and what it's responding to. I'm loving this truck, man. I can't stop saying it, I really do, I love it.
Tom pulls in and he's all smiles. The truck's running good, sounds good, it's looking good. The biggest takeaway from this build is the satisfaction of helping a couple guys out who have done so much for me. That's the way car clubs work, is people help each other out, and this is proof in the pudding.
For him to have his truck out here and everybody hooping and hollering at him was really bitching. I mean, that was so cool for Tommy.
Yeah, I built this!
Whenever I've worked with Ian, it's the hardest I've ever worked in my life. It's ridiculous, you know, but I'm inspired to keep looking for another project.
Ian, and he's such a hard worker and he gets things done fast. And to see him do his magic was crazy.
Tom's truck is a success. You know, this is a good day, good get-together party. I think my job is done here. On to the next.
See, what they don't know is that this was my grand plan of diversion. Without all that inspecting going on, pure art is the result. There'll be no check and balance from here on out. You're in the dog days of summer, literally. It's about 100 degrees in here, and I'm just getting warmed up.
Yikes.
Looks like I got myself into another ridiculous project.
Like anything goes. You know, my other car, we cut it apart. I'm not married to any of this.
No rules.
No rules.
Whatever.
My friend Johnny and I, we worked out this crazy idea based on his Volkswagen chassis. A fantasy show car. That's how I would describe it.
That takes this, and it's like, and I get my roof.
And your porthole.
And the porthole. You know, I got an idea for the back. You know, all we need is shapes.
No hesitation, no pre-planning. He just grabs a saw. This might work.
Chop top camper shed.
Right?
We moved through the mock-up really fast, and the car started to take shape.
Holy Krakatoa.
Then my friend Tom got involved and brought in this monster engine.
This project just got put in the slingshot, and it's drawn and ready to fire.
It's time to get freaking crazy on this.
Well, there's a new kid in town, wouldn't you say? I thought it was about time to get Shop Inspector some companionship. I got another stray pit rescue. Her name's Angel, and I think she'll be the perfect companion for the inspector. They've been together for one day, and they're like old buddies. Dude's kind of a unique character. You know, he is the shop inspector. Not looking for anything more than a companion, you know. Maybe keep Mr. Face busy for a while I'm working. You saw that temper tantrum he threw with the, dare I say, roll bar? Needs to lighten it up a little. It's a fun shop. No more arguments. Just keep it on the level. You know, a little lady action in the room might help things out a little. So this car's progressing. You know, the bodywork, I'm just trucking right through it as I do. I pulled the engine out so I could finish off the back of this body, put in some MDF to stiffen it up a little bit, and blended this one in. So it's all screwed and glued. It's nice and strong. Got through the majority of the bodywork, and now it's on to the details, the aesthetics. Johnny's coming out in a few days to check the progress. There's a few key things that I want to get in place before he gets here. I want to get these side pods in action. Johnny's drawing shows some pretty cool details of these fins along the side. Key design point Johnny came up with was this fin action below the fenders. It's open for interpretation. You know, the main thing for me is to make it flow with the proportions of the car. So the outer face of the wheel width is represented in the thickness of these fins, and then it just tapers down to nothing. So a bunch of big wedge shapes. The biggest challenge in translating the drawing to the vehicle is truth versus fantasy. This car has certain proportions that, with any logic, cannot be altered. This is a mock-up. I'm just trying to get something established to work with. The reason for using these materials is that they're plentiful. I can go to the supply store and get way more. Once it's mocked up, assembled, they get coated in epoxy primer, maybe a little fiberglass on the back to rigidize it. You paint them with automotive paint, and that's the finished product.
that panel on the bottom, all of a sudden it's in proportion. So you literally have this big block wedge with the fenders running through it. And now you're looking at this. And then the fender's just kind of jamming through it. That's good. Just setting up this backboard, you know, I'm really happy with the way it gives that lowered appearance to the car. You could almost leave it as is, but I really think I could take it up another notch. I don't know how big these darts are gonna be, so I'm just gonna split this right down the center and fit it up and figure out how many, how big. Now we have this giant shape. I'm gonna go something like that, I think. What did I get myself into? Fortunately, they only come one at a time. If they ever double teamed, I might not make it up. The last thing I needed was another shop inspector. You know, 2 shop inspectors, I'm kind of outnumbered at this point, you know? I'm 6'2", hand of authority, and now they got double teamed on me, so we'll see how this develops. This is pretty much what I was thinking, a series of these going up the line. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have 4 ribs because that's what this is dictating. I've seen this kind of style on some sports cars, you know, 80s Ferraris, some other weird concepts, but you know, I'm going for my own vibe on it. It's like, oh, okay, that makes me think of this, but it's unique. I see some issue here. From here, these are perfectly parallel, but when you're standing up looking at it, they're perfectly unparallel. In the first layout, you know, it looked kind of like Venetian blinds, just lines stacked. I wanted it more like a, you know, a fan, oriental fan, little flare. I'm trying to find that sweet spot, as with everything. The thing about this is the perspective of the lines has to be measured by how it feels, how the whole car flows. You know, you cannot put a formula on it. Yeah, so that's what I was looking for. You see, that upper one flows with the fender line. Getting these fins primered like the rest of the car would really help to finalize this aspect. I gotta get the thing grayed out, then it all looks the same. My next step is to envision. Thought you were on supply duty. It's your first day here. We're gonna have to run through a couple quick parameters. Primer cabinet is always full. This one is empty. Take note of it, check the serial number. I want a case by tomorrow morning. There is a certain etiquette in this workshop, as loose as it seems. Bottom line is if you want to eat, you gotta work. I really like this, you know, I'm gonna make a couple other enhancements, both to the interior and to the rear end. That's a big issue. Just like with the sides, filled it in, I'm gonna do something in the back, off to the races. The paint cabinet is stocked. She doesn't even have thumbs, yet produced. The last step of envisioning is the primer. You know, just get the thing one tone, and then it's a yay or a nay. With the white, you don't get the shadow play of this gray tone, so now you could really get a feel for the dimension of this. The white just looks all bleached out. The shadows, everything works together. It's good. Totally happy with that design. I'll mimic it for the other side, but there's bigger fish to fry. I'm working on multiple projects. I got all this board kind of fitted in. That's going to be the interior panels with upholstery on it, but I also have a really cool idea for the dashboard. Very little sculpture, all business. We need to enhance. Victor and I did this sports car project, and we used an old Sterling kit car.
The only thing I really want on this thing is this top. You know what, we may use some of the silhouette, but this top, the way it opened, gotta go on the Porsche.
From the jump, that dashboard was dynamite. My challenge is to make this funky 70s vibe fiberglass dashboard fit in that car. This is what we're working with. Vintage Stuart Warner tachometer. These go on this, which is even more awesome. And lastly but not leastly, if you know sound systems from the 70s, Kraco. I don't even care if it works, it's going in the car. So look at that. Freaking floating space pods on this awesome wraparound dashboard. The basis of my projects has always been found parts. So this next step is just in that same vein. Victor didn't even look twice at this thing, so you know me. Put it in the back pocket,
Put in the semi-permanent collection. He's gonna be surprised when he sees it, because he's like, oh, I should have used that in another car, but it's gonna be too late. It all depends what you're going for in the end. You know, if you just put in a set of cool gauges or whatever in the stock body, hey, you get that out of it. If you want a freak show, you gotta go the full length. And that's what I need. I need a freak show dashboard. Sitting there, you can see how this is all gonna congeal. You know, it's offering a huge support visually to that tube frame. And then, yeah, with the windshield, the split windshield, we need this. I think everyone will agree it's a nice looking unit, but how are you gonna get it in there? As a great man once said, it just isn't even close to fitting. So, I'm just gonna cut it up. Here we go. I've cut so much stuff apart at this point, you know, you just look right through it. You know, a butcher doesn't need a road map to where he's going, right? He just knows the cuts, gets rid of the excess fat, and makes it happen. It's summertime for sure, so this is the old standby, you know. Not only does it portably cool, it blows the dust that way, very efficiently. With any found object, as long as you make the right moves, and get the right results. So this is exactly where it needs to be. Now, the center comes right to here. There's plenty of room for the shifter and the emergency brake. These two pieces did not go together, and hey, now they work. Just put a couple screws to secure that. That's all gonna get fiberglassed. These are obviously not the right shape, so I'm gonna start with the center pods and then work these out independently. So you can see with a few minor pieces trimmed off, the Sterling dashboard is a perfect fit. Look at that. The success of having these three shapes fit in the car, okay, that's great. What's really gonna sell it is getting it all glassed and molded in so it looks like one piece. You know, all this center detail is retained looking like the Sterling, which is what I was looking for. Once it's all molded in together, it's really gonna sell it, but you know, when the inspectors start responding, you can see there's a little curiosity going on. I think we're on the right track. The thing this concept needed was that final coat of primer to cement the deal. I mean, this is kind of what I saw when I first thought of putting the Sterling dashboard in here. It still needs refinement, but you can see it's now one piece instead of all those separate components, and everything's there. All I gotta do is wire it up. That's the only thing that gets you through a project like this is these small rewards. You know, there are so many tasks to be completed on a custom car as involved as this, you know. Just to get that dashboard and the primer is like a little glimpse of the light at the end of the tunnel. Inspector number one has given full approval and sign off on the dashboard, and now it's time to get to the details on the back end. Well, the engine intake speaks for itself. You know, these giant megaphone style velocity stacks. I want the exhaust to mimic these, so these big horn shapes are definitely gonna be the exhaust. The whole car has got to flow together. So those trumpets, you know, the air's coming in, where does the air go out? The exhaust. Those two elements should be in the same flavor. All right, there's your custom exhaust setup. Full custom Dune Buggy needs a full custom exhaust. Just like anything else is gonna be made from scratch, so I ordered a whole pile of parts to get to getting. The challenge therein is to make this tangled pile of tubing and make it look like a beautiful piece of machinery. The way this blower is perched on the engine, you have an open side and a more cramped side. This is the challenge with this exhaust, because you know, the engine's gonna look asymmetrical. There's no way around it. See the pulley and the blower, everything's off to this side of the setup. So that's the challenge of making the exhaust look like it works. We're in the dog days of summer, literally. It's about 100 degrees in here, and I'm just getting warmed up. This is kind of cool. Like, what if they
They kind of projected from a center point like this. There's 2 and 2 right there, kind of out. For this exhaust build, you know, my main thought is that it has to look balanced. The exhaust has to complement the engine and not take anything away from the fantastic components that it's already presenting. That's what I'm talking about. That's a total cartoon car exhaust. I like the exhausts. I really want to get the taillights in place just to see how the whole thing plays. The official reproduction Mustang taillight lens. Unlike some other people we know, for me, this taillight decision is going to be real easy. Perfect. I don't think this car needs anything any more crazy than one of the old Dune Buggy standards. You can see, it's perfect. I'm kind of a make a decision and stick it guy. My mind's made up. This thing is totally freaky, funky 70s style. This is exactly right. Johnny's coming out in a couple days. There's a lot more to be done as far as assembly and finish work, but those 2 taillights, those 4 exhaust pipes, you know, that's the look. I need to finish up the exhaust on the other side, but there's one more key component I want to get established before Johnny comes back. Duplicated the exhaust concept on the passenger side, did a bunch of finish welding, and now it's clearly represented. And there'll be some finish work just in, you know, finishing the welds, but that's the look. It came out really cool. Even though the sheet metal megaphones are uncharacteristic at the end, these end caps make it look like the laser gun. It's just a good effect. What it needed was that little center engine, you know, it looked like it was wearing a backpack. And now it's got freaking claws. Looks like it's gonna grab something if it backs up. This simple design was really effective in completing that bulked out rear end. The rear end is fitted out for sure. The one thing that's missing is this windshield. You know, this concept of the floating roof will really be cemented when you see the windshield mounted here and there's nothing attaching. In other words, no A-pillar attachment. First things first is these 3 pieces of authentic brass boat windshield. A lot of the hot rods you see, you know, Model A, T-buckets, that type of thing, they're using like a Halleck or Duval style windshield, and it's basically a 3-pillar window. This Chris Craft boat windshield looks just the same as that. I mean, if you just sat it here, it would be fine, but I don't like that. What I like is it for it to sit here, pointing at the roof, so that this is never touching. I think I have to create some kind of a shape at this level, so this thing sits like that. The stage is set for some full custom figuring out. I think they're happy. She's doing the Scooty. See, what they don't know is that this was my grand plan of diversion. Without all that inspecting going on, pure art is the result. There'll be no check and balance from here on out. I'm gonna have to do some modifications to this, so I don't wanna just stack on top of the primer. I wanna get right down to the base material and build off of that. So what I wanna do is take that big sanded out surface, and then I'm gonna sculpt it to look cooler. Right now it's on a shelf, it's like this. It's gonna be a flat plate, it's just a stamp, one shot. This is just establishing the height for the center post to sit. I know a couple tricks that will help me just go through the process efficiently. You set that, and you push it flat. Critical thing is I gotta get the center pillar looking parallel with the roof support. Ha-ha! Is a flat surface. All we were trying to do is just create that flat pad that sits on. That's the height. Process with this is one step at a time. Get your center centered and then figure out what the angle is on one side and then follow through with the other. Really the best way is to eyeball it because you can see clearly, you know, when you're down the line, if they're like that, you know, there's gotta be parallel. You may be asking yourself, how is he possibly gonna get all those things at the same height? Got these epic sanding discs from 3M. I mean, come on, you didn't think I was gonna not customize every last thing. There you have it, 4-foot block sander. Look at that, you sand it. He has that look in his eye. I didn't say it was going to be professional, but it works. The purpose of mocking up the windshield is just like everything else, a three-dimensional, full-scale representation of where you're going. The end result of this is still yet open. You know, you can do a traditional clear glass, you can do Lexan, colored glass, colored Lexan, tinted, anything goes. Really happy with the way this windshield progressed. Still some final details, like everything else, but definitely enough to show Johnny, and I got some plans. Making good progress on the car, but as much as I like to stay confined in my own cell, the outside world is always calling. Minding my own business, I get an SOS call from Victor. So is there anything you want to change on this one, or is it okay?
No, this is it.
Okay.
This one's done.
No more enhancements?
Never. Ian, I know I said at cruise night I wasn't gonna change anything, but I got a little bored, so I figure, hey, it's time to just touch it up, right?
The thing is, that's all it takes with Victor. It's just like one little glimmer of, oh, yeah, that's right, we haven't changed this car up in a while. The good news is, I never finished the front grille. You went ahead and powder coated all the parts and painted the car. There was one other thing I wanted to build on it, and I never got to finish this front end. It was like 15 years ago. As much as it pains me to say, this car was like almost 20 years ago when I met Victor.
This was a 4-door, and Winfield made it into a 2-door, and I had it sitting for years in my backyard. Then I met you, and you started on my hood. Remember, I brought you to do the hood, the front bumper, the back bumper, so the car is iconic.
One really cool thing about this car is that not only did it come from Winfield's shop as one of his projects, but it's also the first car that Victor and I ever collaborated on. When I met Victor, he didn't know what he wanted, so we ended up using parts from like 5 different cars. If you look at the center grille teeth, they're actually castings off of a '53 Ford pickup. There's Cadillac parts in the bumper, there's Buick parts, there's a little Ford in there, it's all mixed up. This collaboration was like Victor. He was the fish on the line. I hooked him with this project, and so it went. Here we are, 20 years later. I know Victor's mode, but it's always a surprise when he just goes for it. I mean, he doesn't really have to go for it as hard as he does.
This has been a good car. I just want to clean it up, restore it back to show quality. It wasn't show quality, it was cruising quality, but I need a cruising show quality car. Your chance to finish up what you were going to do 15 years ago with the front bumper.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's made out of a lot of parts. First thing I would say I would like it to represent is sort of like the 50 or 51 Chevy, where it has that cool overrider above the grille set. This will be like a little pan that just brings it all together. So Victor was saying, I'm not really changing anything, I'm just freshening it up, New upholstery, new drivetrain, fresh new paint. Basically the same car, just betterer.
And I love it because it's my daily driver. This was the funnest car that I own.
The whole thing about this project is just to get it back in action. Victor's got a team of body guys, upholstery, the whole team's here. For me, it's just a matter of seeing the car back assembled and down the road. It's always nice to have a diversion. I got multiple projects going on. Johnny's on his way into town. I gotta get to it. Picked up Johnny at the airport, and we are straight on our way to the Pomona swap meet. We're just about, not to the finish line of this project, but we're getting close. Not only does the swap meet have parts, it has cars, a full car show, so it is full sensory overload. Keep your eyes peeled. I want you alert, focused, ready to make a deal.
Sweet. Nothing's better than you get back into town and immediately Ian's like, dude, let's go to Pomona. It's like the mecca for finding like really good parts for different stuff. Like if you got a project that you're building, like Pomona's the place you want to go.
Still a few elements to flesh out on the car, so it is like a part search as well as inspiration day, The whole thing is just keep an open mind. We never know what we're gonna come up on. Look at this vent.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait a second, that's paint work. That's not, tell me you didn't think that was a true custom body scoop.
That look real.
Like I did the little vents on the back of the Johnny 5, they just took it to the next level. I mean, I was ready to put my finger in there and see how it was made. It's really good.
Yeah, it totally looked three-dimensional.
Yeah. So I mean, an element like that on our little speed buggy,
for sure,
would be pretty trippy.
And Ian's like, let's see if we can find some cool stuff for the project. Anything goes.
Those are some sand front tires. I like that look. Yeah, check these out, dude. I mean, that's the race car look for sure. And look how low the front end could be with those little fronts. Johnny's always drawn the cartoon proportions, so to get a tire as big as his drawings show, it's a challenge, you know? So we come up on these drag racing slicks. They definitely got a cool look to them. Maybe, maybe not. So here's some big fatties. I mean, those are paddles. That's for the sand, but they might have something else. The great thing about being immersed in this massive swap meet is you have tons of different things to compare. Like this size here, look at this one. $35. Not really the flavor.
They look good. I just wish those back ones were bigger.
When it comes to tire size, you know, wider, taller, anything that just makes it look more cartoony.
Yeah, there's some fatter tires. I mean, that'd be some pretty good meats right there.
But then that style is almost like what we have. Oh man. Walking through, I come upon this wider style of sort of the same turbine rim, and they're much bigger.
I bought them for a VW kit car, but they don't make the adapter for that wheel.
Oh.
So
Is that doable?
I ain't scared.
That's what we need right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Here, hold it. Take ownership.
Well, it's like, yeah, give the guy the puppy, right?
Yeah.
Falls in love with it. Yo, they are 15 by 10, says right on it. This is a step in the cartoon direction. So
Pay that guy.
Awesome. This is kind of ideal scenario. The guy's saying, I absolutely can't use them, and I know I can modify to make them fit.
Ian's the master of the deal. They were a larger size, like turbine look that we already kind of have on the car. I think it's gonna look even better.
Off the plane for 5 minutes, it already cost me $50. Let's go stash these in the truck and get back to shopping. Another thing I need is a new hat, so there's usually a regular person here.
Like everyone's got one.
I know, everybody's got one. Somebody's selling them for sure.
So I just walk up to people and go, Ian? Oh, wait, you're not Ian. You're not Ian. One of the coolest parts of being here at Pomona is, people recognizing Ian from the show, which is really cool. And just seeing him interact with the people who really are excited about what he does. And everybody was really encouraging. Hey man, we can't wait to see what you're building next.
Oh, look at this high roof. Look at that thing. That's the real toaster.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the full loaf of bread. Walking around the car show, there are tons of different cars here, and hopefully you can get some inspiration for the paint.
We're walking down, there's a line of 64 Impala, Fleetwoods, long Cadillacs, old cars, 40s cars, the Mexican bombs that were just chrome for days, and just, you can only imagine how much they cost to get them to the point that they are. Like one after the other, just really well done paint job cars.
I think we're entering the lowrider section. Lowriders are a great paint inspiration because that's one of their primary features is the bodywork guys and the painters just show off their stuff. Dude, so this guy's got all the action going on. I mean, look at the weird tape lines and the fades and everything like that. The main thing about these paint jobs, from my standpoint, is when somebody looks at it, they go, that is an incredible amount of work. You can really see the labor of love that this project has been. That's the whole deal with this. It's like we're not making a lowrider paint scheme, but we're definitely using metal flake and some taped lines or whatever. What I'm looking for specifically is the one thing I hadn't considered. You're always looking for that one unique aspect. The thing I'm responding to is like the simple tape lines, the readable, predictable ones can grow into a really elaborate paint scheme. That's classy.
Hell yeah, man.
Look at the hard root beer to yellow fade. I mean, just a two-tone, blue and white.
Yeah, see, dude.
Turquoise and white.
That works.
Yeah. We're definitely not looking to make this buggy painted like a lowrider. I think the thing about these cars is a lot of them have relatively stock bodies, so the elaborate paint job takes them over the top. We're working with kind of the opposite aspect. Our body is totally customized, so to add a really wild, multi-dimensional paint scheme may take away from that. We got some new parts, we got a bunch of ideas. Let's get back to the shop and make it happen.
This is where we're at, man.
Nice.
It's a little bit different than it was last time.
Wow, man. It's unbelievable. I walk in, and man, it looks really, really cool. Dude, look at the dash.
That's that Sterling dashboard from the other supercar that Victor and I worked at.
And this is so sick.
Yeah, we didn't discuss that, that's right.
Last time I was here, everything was pretty much attached with sheet metal screws or drywall stuff, and we were just kind of tacking things together, and now it's a full solid body. It came out better than I thought it was gonna come out. I can't stop looking at this part.
I got the engine from this guy, Tom. He saw the car, he saw some pictures and fell in love with it. I don't know what the deal is yet. He may be a potential buyer for it. When Tom came down and saw the car, he brought the engine. He's talking about a trade or buying the car. He's only become progressively more fascinated with the project. He shows up with this Cobra gas.
Oh, sick.
This is a flower pot. It's a plastic flower pot.
Yeah.
Look at it, right? I just put a wood board inside it and cut off the back.
I love it.
All the pieces are here, Our mission is to nail this paint scheme. I'll mount up these tires and then, the sky's the limit, dude. Just as crazy as these components are, paint job's gotta be that big and better. I'm gonna let Johnny ruminate on his paint idea for a while. I've got an idea for these rims. I want to try it out before we mount the tires. I got this cool media blaster from Eastwood. I've been using it on everything. I got walnut shells in one side and then sand in the other. These rims are way cool, but I have an idea. I don't want to make them look like fully polished, way too shiny. And I think if I just give the misting of the surface, these rims are going to look frosted, and then I can detail out the highlights. So it's like you got your satin, and then as soon as the shine comes around, you start to get your blips.
Yep. Yeah, I like that.
So, any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on that paint scheme? It's been 5 minutes. I figured you have it worked out.
Yeah, no.
On the way to the shop, we picked up these new rear tires. They're 295 60-15s. It's got a 12-inch wide tread and about a 28-inch tall diameter. They're gonna be way cooler on this car. I can't wait to see what they look like. Before we can get these rims on the car, I gotta set up some wheel adapters. I have a pair, and I think I can do something to make them work. 5.5. Pop right back in. Aha! Yeah. Look at that. Look at from the back. Look at the two side to side. The way the exhaust plays on this tire is way better.
That makes that fender make sense.
Yeah. This was a total relief because with the engine and exhaust developing, these tires make the rear view complete. So, it's been 8 minutes. Any thoughts on that paint job yet? I like the fact that Johnny's a little nervous. I like pushing his buttons, keeps him on the edge, keeps him creative. So, we're into the paint design of this, and, it's got to count.
Yeah, so as I'm looking around the car, it started worrying me a little bit. Can I come up with something that's going to work? Yeah.
Johnny's feeling a little uneasy, but I'm confident. Everything's in place. All the elements are here. You got some great ideas. You're throwing down some great ideas. Let me get this thing into primer like right now, and tomorrow we are ready to rock. We'll start designing it.
Okay.
At this stage of the game, I'm feeling energized. There was a big hurdle to jump to just get to this point. I mean, I've got a lot of ideas. I'm looking forward to see what Johnny comes up with. I got another coat of primer on the car, and it's ready to lay out the paint scheme.
What I'm seeing is every time I try to do something different from the old drawing, it just doesn't.
There's something magic about that simple two-tone.
Yeah.
With this fading and everything, you don't want to draw too many lines on the car, I don't think. Like, look at the VW bus.
Right.
It's perfect.
Simple.
The thing is about these cartoon hot rods, we designed the Johnny 5 together, we're designing this together, so, they could be pals in a universe somewhere else. They would be hanging out together for sure. Strangely enough, the exhaust sort of feels like that. The side panels sort of feel like that. Now we got the giant tire. Maybe we just make it look like you're drawing instead of trying to come up with something crazy. Right. I'm kind of sticking up for Johnny's initial inspired paint scheme. Maybe we don't need to go so wild. The thing about his first idea is that it doesn't translate so well to the true body shapes.
I mean, just first thoughts. I love this white panel coming to the little spear right here.
Right.
So what if the white followed through and it came around and then kind of hooked up? It doesn't need to follow this line, but it came up and you had two jutting spears like that.
Ian like immediately starts seeing a lot of lines that I wasn't really totally seeing, and he starts laying some pinstripe tape down, and immediately these really cool spear shapes started showing up. I just think that's his thought process. There's never not a way we can do this. Less is more.
And we're coloring outside the lines, which
sure,
you get
yeah.
extra points for. It's like body line? No, we're just gonna
No.
mash
We're
them.
making our own line.
In a panel paint job, you typically follow the body lines, but the exciting part about what we're doing is we're coloring outside the lines. You know, we're trying to hyper exaggerate some of the features on the body. This is the line. If you were a panel painting a car, you follow these lines.
Right.
This edge. But we're not doing it like that.
Going optical.
See, so this blue tape is blue paint right through there.
Yeah.
So the blue here, if this is white, what does this do? Come around?
Yeah. Or maybe even go.
See, this is exactly why. This is nothing I would have ever thought of. Bam, all of a sudden he starts to fire on all cylinders. He's like, break the paint line across the dashboard like that and look at the effect you get. I'm like, exactly, right. That's why you're here. To break it across the top and look at that weird
There's
shape.
another blue spear.
Right, so this is blue.
Yep, blue.
Right.
Then there's a spear of blue going through it.
Right. Johnny's idea about the lines on the hood really complements the little spear thing I did on the side. So I'm gonna go back, tighten all the lines up, and then, then it's ready to spray. But feeling really confident that our collaboration is gonna pan out.
What about doing white on the undersides of the kick-ups? Remember the old mud flaps?
Right.
Where it was like Yosemite Sam and the back off. We do that underneath, but not mud flaps.
Right, on the fenders.
On the fenders.
Yes, 100%. So blue, white,
right,
and then I'll get some kind of cool font.
Yeah.
This is exactly what the car needed. That one thing where you're walking around, you're already blown away, and then you're like, it's the punchline at the end of the story. I'm doing that 100%. Right, and then the exhaust is like the guns.
Yeah.
And we'll put a mustache on the engine. It'll be perfect.
He's like, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't we do that? In fact, let's make it as big as we can. I can't, that's like now like one of my most favorite parts we're gonna do to the car. Is that silly back off thing on the back. These damn vomits, back off. Giggle.
Before Johnny leaves, I want to get this car basically where every design element is nailed. There's one last thing I want to show you, and that's the interior.
Okay.
I started making a couple panels out of this masonite,
right.
But the missing link is that center console. See, now that it's not in the car, you really see that there's two separate pieces.
Yeah, okay.
So what I want to do is, just like your drawing, I want to show two separate pods. Right. I want that wall to continue right up to the back. That way, the driver and the passenger are never rubbing elbows.
Okay. Ian's already got a really cool aesthetic inside the interior of the car, which is this really cool grab handle thing that kind of flows through the center of the car. And I'm like, let's just riff off that piece.
I noticed an element of Johnny's drawing that showed this center console aspect between the driver and passenger seats. I set up the dashboard for that in that the Sterling had that unit that came down into the shifter area. I just wanted to see what Johnny was thinking about how this wall between the two people is going to present itself. I have my ideas, but I'm always interested in what he's going to bring to it. Here's the board, draw out what you're thinking, let's do it.
It's totally the shape I was thinking.
I was reading your mind. I love it. Let's see how it looks. Dude, you're a freaking genius, man. That is the eye of an artist.
Like, please tell me he's not gonna do that. I love all of Ian's over-the-top ideas, and I was like, I hope he's not serious about this one. Yeah, I don't think so.
You always got to keep him guessing. He might have thought that I was serious about doing that, but that's why I left his line in place. All right, let's try the
If that's your
conservative.
vision, I'm with it. If that's your vision.
Let's try the conservative look. Oh, I see what you did there. Look at that. Whoosh. You got an eye for this, man. Yeah, so this tube will only grow out of the center console.
Right.
Right here. and that's hidden. You trace that, and I'll make another one.
It always looks so much easier on TV.
In the end, I want these upholstered, so once again, this is not only a mock-up, but it's the structure that will be upholstered. All right. That was the thing, I just wanted to have the look that we both agreed on.
No, that's gonna work.
Yeah, I want to show you one thing. You know those fiberglass seats we saw at the swap meet?
Yeah.
Well, I actually found a pair this morning. These are cool because they're vintage. You don't really see them with the white seat covers. These seats are the classic low-back Dune Buggy seats. We're going with a blue base coat. These had blue pinstripes sewn in them, so this will be the theme for the interior. And, you know, I got a bunch of white vinyl, so I'm just gonna do it very simple, white vinyl interior. Now it really fills in that big cavity, you know? So see the center console, as bulky as it looks, it's really not bulky.
That's just right. Those fit just right in there too, right at the lips.
So you have the pod of the dashboard, and then the seat back, and then the little flipper fin on the roof. The driver has his controls and whatnot. The passenger's separated by a wall, and he's the DJ. He's got the stereo, and he's in his own chair. The good news is all of that crazy, hard, dirty work is behind us, and now it's on to the details.
Yeah, so we step back, we look at the finished project, all the ideas that we've come together. Again, it's, you know, it's the next step of the mock-up. We've already mocked up once, now we're doing the final mock-up, it appears. It appears. You know, whatever Ian's gonna do while I'm not here, it's gonna be next level coolness. So I wish I could imagine what it's gonna be like, but it's Ian Roussel, you never know.
It's come a long way, baby. Now all that's left to do is everything.
I can't wait to see it done.
It's happening. Really appreciate Johnny being here. He always brings in a fresh element to the design. There's still a ton of work to do, but we've crossed the threshold. So we came in, we nailed the key elements we needed. All I could say is by the time this thing is finalized, there's a few more awesome surprises coming. Fact of the matter is, dude is not the only one getting packages in the mail. You know, a fan from Australia, he's got some products, so he sends us a little gift package.
It's not a kangaroo, is it?
Oh, eye muffs.
Goggles?
Oh, check that out. Usually you're grabbing two pieces, right? So this is like a one-unit thing. Eye protection, ear protection.
That's a pretty sweet idea.
I'm sorry, what?
I said that's
what? I can't hear you.
Is that a cool idea? And let me see if I can form myself a dingo. Let's go snorkeling.
Sorry, what? This is cool. I like the eye gasket action, because, you know, grinding.
Right.
Anything,
oh, wow.
You get stuff in your eyes.
Dude, look at the black ones.
Wow, that's like Stormtrooper style. You're a natural spokesperson, dude.
Yeah, it's a good thing I can read lips.
Exactly.
You wanna, what? Woo! There's a dingo that stole my baby.